Phone.
I think everyone just
That
wouldn't be me.
That's a great way to start the podcast, man. Welcome you all
I'm
to
modern
Music Bodies podcast episode number 3 with Gary. Say hi, Gary.
Hello.
Gabe.
Hello.
Phallus, which is in time now.
Hello. Yes, I am.
And the other new guests, which are Dead, who is right here.
Here.
Pova.
Hello.
And Goth Girl, who is a resident Radiohead stan. Okay, so today, we learned that Gary and Gabe have a new podcast, which is basically stabbing us in the back, but there's no problem, we're gonna still listen to it. It's gonna be just two guys screaming on a few bands, but it's still, yeah, you should check that out too. They have an episode on Liz Fair, which is a great artist, and I think you should all listen to at least her main stuff until
early 90s stuff.
Exile.
Don't bother with
Exile and Gabe.
Yeah.
And today we're gonna tackle Radiohead, this band, which everyone knows.
Radiohead fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, Radiohead is straight up.
Yeah,
sucks.
we're doing
Radiohead's kind of trash. I mean, like, don't give yours a 0 out of 10 album.
British
way
bands suck dick, man. I mean, come on.
Fuck British people.
Yeah, fuck
Dude,
All my homies
Weezer
hate
is
British
like
people.
100 times better.
I unironically agree with that.
No,
Yeah, I know he does.
We'll
We're
come
gonna
to
do
that
people.
when we get to a
Weezer
gay
is
computer. We'll
fucking
see
shit.
that.
Weezer, I could be
We'll
talking
see that.
shit for like 3.5 hours, dissecting only Pinkerton on how bad it is on so many levels.
I've heard the entire discography. I've heard the entire fucking discography. Don't say shit.
No, you can't do Pinkerton like that, dude. It's okay. Off to a great start, are we?
Okay,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
All right, so
look at me. I'm okay. So in a side note, talking about fucking Weezer. First of all, Weezer is not a good band. Let's get that out of the way. Second of all,
No, you're just
I wonder how you touch yourself. And I kiss
Radiohead-
myself for being.
okay. So Radiohead started with calling themselves In a Friday because they rehearsed In a Friday.
On a Friday.
Early,
Yeah.
They started rehearsing early 1990s on United Kingdom.
Yorke is a genius.
They started with basically their lineup hasn't changed at all, and that's one of the aspects that I admire from the band. Because
The Greenwood brothers?
their sound has been evolving with themselves, and they are all like key members. Thom Yorke, which is the vocalist, multi instrumentalist. He plays laptop. He's credited with laptop in most of the albums, but also Johnny Greenwood, Ed O'Brien, Colin Greenwood, and Philip Selway. Philip
The
Selway
Greenwoods
is
are
low-key
gods.
a great drummer to me.
He
He's
really
a
is,
fucking
though.
Yeah, he
great
is.
drummer.
He's
Yeah,
His
he's
live-
actually really good.
Just to get out of the way,
Jo-
most of the key performances from Radiohead, to me at least, are live performances, which exemplify better the extent these guys have in creativity. But I mean, Thom Yorke is not the only genius of the group. Everyone here.
No, not at
contributes
all.
in a way.
Yeah,
And
The Greenwood brothers are
Uh-huh.
just, I think, just as important as
just to
Yorke.
get out of the bag,
Yeah.
nothing to disregard Thom Yorke. I think his solo discography is okay, but that goes for everyone.
I mean,
And he when he works with Radiohead, he has so many great ideas, except for a few ones which we're gonna
Discuss.
discuss.
Specifically when he was blonde.
No, not when he was blonde. He was gay when he was blonde, boy. You cannot criticize gay people. I mean, we love just to get this out of the way. We love Thom Yorke. We love Radiohead. I mean, I do at least. I used to hate Radiohead.
He fucking
This is-
sucks, but we
this
love
is-
him.
this is a
Fucking
fact.
Radiohead
This is a
fan.
fact. For years, I used to hate Radiohead, and then I realized that how much I hated Radiohead led me to love Radiohead because I started going to college and then listening to In Rainbows in loops for days and crying on the metro station, listening to Nude. But then that's just me personally. I hated
that's
the music
real.
for how personal it is, and well, oh shit, who just
Somebody just
There
bit
went
me.
Udi.
okay, so after
Well,
Our
Welcome,
resident
Megan.
Stan. What are we gonna do? Our resident Stan just left.
yeah, but
Oh, God.
after fucking Fucking
So
on
if
a
I'm if I
Friday
was
joined in. They were not going anywhere, and they had a bunch of songs they were performing live, and they got a cult following, and they basically went to a label and took the name of a Talking Heads song called Radiohead.
the
Yeah,
Talking
'cause-
Head song, I've heard the Talking Head song. I don't know if you have all
I
heard it.
haven't.
I have not.
It's fucking weird. It's
That
really
sounds
weird.
like Talking Heads
Sounds
for
like
you.
Talking Heads, yeah.
It's
Yeah, it sounds like
really
Talking
odd.
Heads for you.
And I think that the reason they had to change their name is the label thought On a Friday was stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
The
like,
label
who
Moving on a
choice.
Friday
It is
was
stupid. I mean,
Because a band called On a Friday doesn't really say anything.
Yeah.
no. I will say this much though. On a Fridays, I believe it's their final demo tape before they became Radiohead Hedgehog. That's a good tape. I like that tape.
What is the name? On a Friday?
Manic Hedgehog by On a Friday.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's talk about that for a bit. Just to be clear.
What's the name again?
They have an album.
Manic Hedgehog.
Manic Hedgehog?
Yes.
They have an album by On a Friday called On a Friday, which was released in 1986, which is a bad record, to be honest. It just, yeah, I mean, it has many early versions of, at least many ideas that Radiohead would perfect later. It has a song called Fragile Friend, and the whole album is just fine for what it is. I mean, it's just a band of kids taking fun in what they're doing. After this, they would come with their first EP, and Goth Girl just joined for the
I'm
time,
back,
for
I'm
time
back.
for the first EP of proper Radiohead, which is a Drill, released in 1992, which sucks for
Oh,
what
man.
it is. Yeah, let's get this out of the way. It's
I
10
haven't heard
minutes.
Drill.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah,
Me neither.
to put it in a way,
Why
it's
would we?
10 minutes.
It's just 3 songs from Pablo, 4
a
songs from Pablo.
Stupid
huh?
Car would be perfected later. Like Stupid Car, just that song. It's worth it from this record to me. You know, and
But
what?
but the thing is that it wasn't Drill that made them strike big. It was the next EP,
Oh, of
which
course.
was
Exactly, we're going to transition to that. After this, they released their first
Correct.
proper EP, which is Creep, back in 1992. Which, to introduce
Wait,
this
that
has
didn't.
4 songs, which are Creep, Lurgy, Inside My Head, and $1 Million Question. And Creep became famous for one reason. I mean, the song in itself, it has a weird story going for the fact that Thom Yorke dedicated this song to a sweetheart he had that he would follow it around thinking that he would never speak to her, and then making a song on this, and then the girl would come out. It's a well-known story for Radiohead fans, but anyways, I think the EP for what it is, it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good.
solid.
I don't care.
It's
I don't care what
yeah.
people say. I think Creep is one of the best Radiohead songs.
Creep is
Just-
Creep
I
is
d-
Radiohead's best song.
I unironically really do love Creep. It was the first radio song I ever heard.
It's a great
Got me
song.
into the band.
so
I think that
Yeah.
people dismiss it because it's not as sophisticated or whatever as OK Computer, but
Well, okay.
it's a great rock song. It's noisy.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
people,
look,
they would stop performing it because people just had to identify them as a Creep song band. And
Yeah,
they,
that's
they
the
didn't.
thing.
They didn't
Yeah.
want to be.
a lot of people don't like it because Thom Yorke doesn't like it, and the rest of the band doesn't like it.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
There's a
Yeah, well,
story
they're
with that
wrong.
because Creep got they stopped performing it because had just performed it time after time after time after time again, and they didn't want to become a one-hit wonder. So and later in 2016, back when the A Moon-Shaped Pool tour, they would perform it once again years later, and it would be great because just admit it, it's a very personal song, and I think Thom Yorke just hated it because of the popularity it got. And many fans, you know, that those fans can suck a giant smug dick of Phallus and just go straight up.
Hey.
Just go straight up to hell because this song is really good, especially the
Yeah.
later
I
performances.
thought we were
The-
actually going to have some disagreement on this, but I'm in complete agreement. It's a great
Yeah.
rock single for
Look,
what it is.
The,
And I
the
think we're
chord
focusing too
progression
much-
of it is amazing.
I actually think
Yeah.
we're focusing.
Who cares
about
amazing.
fucking
Phallus.
complexity? Complexity doesn't matter
Phallus.
here. It's just a personal EP. The EP has 2 songs that I adore from Radiohead: "Creep" and $1 Million Question. And
$1 Million
so-
Question is quite good.
Yeah.
Inside of my
Yes.
Inside of My Head too is too. Those 2 songs are equally as good as Creep, in my opinion. Creep is a little bit better, maybe, but those 3 songs are really solid. Orgy, I'm not sure. I don't really remember much about it, but those 3 songs I remember were really solid. And I think people just shit on Creep and on Pablo Honey because they say it's not really Radiohead, which, in my opinion, when you use that argument with any other bands, you're like, oh, but it's not really Pink Floyd. Oh, it's not really Radiohead. Like, you're an imbecile.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be
It's under
comparing
the Radiohead
work
label.
against other work.
I
You
mean,
need to compare it against itself.
Yeah.
And by itself, it's a decent, grungy, alternative rock song or EP. And it should be recognized as so.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
have-
personally love the early Radiohead songs. Like, they're some of my favorites. Creep is probably one of my favorite Radiohead songs. And although it's not as great as the others, I still enjoy it. I don't see any reason to really hate on any of the early stuff.
For Creep, I agree, but I guess maybe we should start talking about Pablo Honey because I do have some things to say about.
later
that.
it
Later
comes
on?
one, they have one released before fucking that
Pablo
album.
Honey.
What do you
Pablo
think
Honey.
about it,
Which
Gary?
is-
What are your opinions on Creep?
I think it's possibly
Crepe.
the band's best song. It's got a great chord progression. It's got the loud, quiet, loud thing going on. The early '90s, the Pixies thing, and it's a genuinely great rock song. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think
Yeah. What do you think about it, Gabe?
it's iconic.
Okay, so basically, the version that was on Spotify was not the original EP. It was actually the single with different songs. So I did not hear the
Yes.
actual EP. I didn't know that. I'm blaming myself for that. But I will say this much
Don't
about
blame
Creep
Spotify.
that
Although the Spotify version with I Am and Blowout, like, yes, I Am is kind of underwhelming, and Blowout remix is a little bit worse than the original. So
I love
didn't miss-
Blowout though.
I thought it was pretty okay. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, Blowout is cool.
I actually like Blowout.
yeah.
Blowout-
I
I
thought
prefer the
the
Pablo
other
Honey
version
version.
was like the version of this EP was okay. But I will say this much about Creep itself. It's a great song. It's one of those songs that I think is going to remind me a lot of when I was younger and not really into music, but it's always going to stick with me. I still think it's one of Radiohead's best songs. I'm probably always going to stand by that. And, you know, it doesn't really matter if it's not on the same level as their other material. That's exactly the point. They did have a musical evolution, but you can still appreciate the stuff that came before that evolution. I mean, of course, subjectivity and all. It's just, I think maybe the hate for it is a little, I think it's a bit over the top.
Fortnite.
What do you think about it,
Yeah.
Pova? What is your opinion on this EP? Oh, you haven't heard.
I did not hear this EP. I can only speak for the studio version of the song, but I think it's a great song. I'm in complete agreement. The kind of noisy guitar strums before they bust into the chorus, I think, is a little stroke of genius by Johnny Greenwood. Honestly,
Yeah, totally.
What is
And
your
also,
opinion on
I
it,
think the most commendable thing about Creep, the part that I like the most is when Thom just goes into that falsetto, like
Yes,
shows-
I was gonna
like,
say that.
just so early on. It shows how talented his voice is.
Yeah, he
That's
has a
one of
great
his
voice.
best
That's one of his
vocal
best songs.
performances.
What about you, resident Radiohead stan? What do you think about the Creep
Yeah,
EP?
yeah. Well, you know, before you guys told me to listen to Creep and I mean like the EP, I never really gave much thought to Radiohead's pre Ben's material. But then I listened to that. I listened to Pablo Honey about 5 or 6 times this week, and then I realized I love it. It's like a 8 out of 10 compared to everything else that Radiohead does, which is 10 out of 10 for me. But it's still there. It's still good.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So after this, they would come to release other EP called "Anyone Can Play
Anyone
Guitar."
can play guitar.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say it is bad.
Ugly.
I don't
dead.
really like it.
It's
I don't like it.
just fine to me. It's just
All right,
okay.
so-
The
Okay,
lead
yeah,
song-
it's
So much better. The
terrible.
MTV Beach House version of this song is so much better.
yeah.
Look, okay,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
so
That's true.
okay, so I have not heard of the EP. I have no idea about the other songs. What I do know, Anyone Can Play Guitar as a standalone track is easily among
Okay, yeah,
my
it's-
top 10 Radiohead songs. It is my favorite out of
Yeah.
Pablo Honey. I just love
That's
how
where I'm gonna have to
stupid it is.
disagree with
I
you there.
love it, and the MTV version is genius. I think that
Yeah, no, MTV version.
anyone can play guitar. If the studio and MTV versions were to somehow be mashed into one, like I want the Fat Ugly Dead, and I also want the second pre-chorus just rising up, but instead of just being screams, just a different variation in the second pre-chorus, and I think it could be a really solid track. But that's just me. I really like anyone can play guitar.
Okay,
I
like
agree.
from the EP,
Yeah, I think it's
from
great,
the
yeah.
EP, the EP, anyone can play guitar. I thought it's alright. The song, I don't think it's any of my favorite or anything, but the other songs in the EP are pretty bad. I don't really like them, and I don't know. The Faithless, the Wonder Boy is a bad track in my opinion. It's one of
What
the
about
worst
Coke
Radiohead
Babies?
tracks.
Wait, is that?
Oh,
I
wait,
thought that was on. Is Faithless the Wonder Boy on Anyone Can Play Guitar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at RYM and that's not what it says, but I guess
Oh.
is it on Spotify or?
Oh yeah.
Spotify
I'm
and
looking at
RYM.
Spotify.
Spotify probably combines that and Itch then. Okay.
Oh damn. Well, and Coke Babies, I think it's an alright track, but nothing too good. I think there's better tracks in Pablo Honey, at least for me.
I mean, anyone can
Alright.
play. This,
Yeah, I'd
this
agree with
EP,
that. It's one of the betters on a Pablo Honey for
this
sure.
EP is
It's
just
got a really
kind
cool
of,
bass line.
It's just kind of fucking stupid in a way. The tone that this EP took had it has Pop Is Dead, Thinking About It, and Killer Cars, the acoustic version, which wouldn't end up being the properly studio
Pop
version.
Is Dead is
Pop is
so
dead.
Pop Is Dead is
Pop is dead is really bad.
Yeah, Pop Is Dead.
Pop
Oh
is dead.
no, Pop Is Dead, long live Pop. It's just it's
That's
weird, and
kind of a guilty
the
pleasure
the
for
music
Jackie
video. I
Allen.
don't know if any of you have seen the music video for
Oh,
Pop
I
Is Dead.
have.
It's fucking
I have.
wonky.
I have. It's
So
weird.
weird.
It's
He
weird
like
as
goes to a
fuck.
coffin and rises from
Jerk him off.
That song is just fun to me. Like, I mean, it's nothing highbrow or anything. It's just, I think it's a guilty pleasure. It's fun to me.
Off, sorry. Yeah, I also I don't think it's bad. I just think it's weird. Like he says jack him off like 7 times in the fucking song.
Pretty much, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I think anyone can play guitar.
After
is-
this,
is,
they would come to this came out in February. You know, everyone can we all agree that this is just not a good EP?
No.
Which one? Anyone can play guitar?
Yeah,
I have no clue.
Yeah.
The song is good. The rest of the EPs.
Yeah, exactly.
and then in April 1993, they will release their first album, which would be Pablo Honey. Everyone disregards this as a bad record. I think it's just okay.
Oh my gosh, Pablo Honey, and we have Pablo here. Wow.
I think it's just okay. I mean many of the songs here are good to me. Like Vegetable, I like Vegetable.
I like
I
Rip
love Vegetable.
I
I love
like-
that Vegetable. As a person that was told that I was almost gonna be Vegetable, I love Vegetable.
I like anyone.
Dude.
I
Can
love
play
a
guitar.
lot of
I
the
like
songs in
Free.
there.
I like you. I like.
Yeah, I like you too. Blowout.
I
you
like
too.
there's one track that I really love of the Pablo Honey, which is Stop Whispering. I really love that
I
track.
agree.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
a
pretty.
fantastic song.
My
Yeah,
favorite
really
Pablo
good.
Honey song is Blowout. Blowout.
Yeah.
Blowout is
Blowout.
cool beans. Yeah, I just think an RYM review said it perfectly, which is people like overrated because it's Radiohead and underrated because it's Radiohead, which is true. Like
Yes, I agree.
if you say that this album is a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10 or whatever, you're a clown. Well, by the most part anyway. Like it's good, but it's not the same
It's
level as
far
other.
from a 10.
Yeah, it's far from a 10. Yet, if you say that it's a 0.5 out of 5 or a 1 out of 10, you're also a clown because it's not that bad.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I couldn't get past with this album, I don't know if any of you guys catch this, but the production on it is really not. It's not a good sounding album at all.
No,
You mean it's avant-garde.
It's really tinny. It's just bad production.
Wait, is that not the same thing?
What?
I'm confused here.
No, I'm just saying
What do
the,
you
the
mean?
production sounds really tinny and thin and just not.
I thought the guitars were kind of mixed weirdly across the
Yeah,
album.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it has weird mixing, it has weird production, but the songs are all right. I
Yeah,
think.
the
songs
songs are
themselves are pretty
okay.
great.
There are no
It's a-
low points on this
There's
record.
there's some pretty huge throwaways on this, like "How Do You," "Ripcord." I mean, I don't think much of those songs at all. I think they're pretty throwaway.
I like
I
How
do
Do
agree.
You better than Anyone Can Play Guitar. Just gonna put that out there.
I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, "Stop Whispering," of course, great song. "Blowout" is a fantastic closer, and it has a great opener and a great closer, which is like I think of them as like the building blocks for a solid album. Is if you start strong and end strong.
Word.
Yeah, but in between that, you have some real throwaways, which kind of balances out to make it just not a bad album, but nothing to really return to, in my opinion.
The cover
I
of
don't
this album is really it's kind of dumb, but it's funny. It's a little
Pretty bad.
It's
Yeah, it's bad, but I kind of like it.
It's a
Well, yeah, and
baby.
the
not the
name is
worst.
pretty dumb too. I mean,
It's
sorry,
baby,
Pablo,
It's
but
a baby.
I'm baby.
it's a baby with cookies. I think those are cookies, and then just a
Yeah,
flower.
they kind of look
Yeah.
they look a little bit like cookies with the flour. Yeah, it's weird. It's very
That's
And
such a
then
weird
the name is
album art.
weird too.
artsy.
Like
Oh,
Radiohead is not a stranger to weird names, but it's just weird to put a proper name and then just honey.
no, it's from
especially your
some.
yeah, they're
TV
talking to
show.
you, Pablo, honey.
Pablo.
Oh, I'm. Did Thom Yorke just call me
Thom Yorke
honey?
called you honey. Yeah.
Mhm, Thom
Oh
Yorke
my
called you honey.
god.
It's a reference to some TV show, but I don't remember what it was.
Jerky Boys, right? It's Jerky Boys, I think.
Yeah,
That prank show or whatever.
Almighty, how do you know this?
Oh, well, they're Radiohead fans. They are gay.
Yeah, the album title comes from a prank call skipped by the Jerky Boys. Yeah.
I mean, after.
Shouts
I
to
mean,
Jerky
I don't know
Boys.
anything about the
to put
Jerky
it- to
Boys.
put
That's
it
why I
in
don't
a-
remember.
To put it in a nice way, this is not a bad debut. It's just okay. It doesn't exemplify
Yeah.
whatever they would.
I
they
would largely
come
agree
out,
with that, yeah.
It doesn't exemplify what they would come out later in their career. It's not bad. It's same as Phallus says. It's not bad, but it's not great either. It's just there. It's not Jesus is King level of mediocrity, but it's there.
Okay, please let's not talk about
Hallelujah.
this.
Hallelujah.
Please let's not talk
Kanye is
about.
banned. Kanye is banned.
Yes, please let's not talk about this because that would be a great fight. And we're here to talk
Yeah.
about Radiohead.
We gotta save that for the other podcast, the Kanye episode, whenever that does.
If we ever do a
Jesus is King
Kanye
at
episode, there's gonna
5?
be fisticuffs. Like
I mean,
we
are you
don't
high?
even live in the same country, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have fisticuffs, dude.
We
I
are.
have to buy you a plane
After,
ticket.
after Pablo Honey, which it was an okay EP, it's basically kind of a poppy record. I like it for what it is. And after this record, they would just have. I mean, after some of the tracks are boring, but I find it kind of charming the way it is, and the cover is just iconic to me. I can't remember it even though I can't forget it even though how stupid it looks. But
The Benz?
yeah, and no,
I think it's-
the Pablo Honey cover.
Oh, the Pablo Honey.
Yeah, the
okay.
Benz is just Phallus jerking off. Is the equivalent of.
Yeah, that's the face I make when I orgasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After this in 1995, they would come with the Benz, which is.
No, you're forgetting.
Wait,
My
you
Iron
forgot the
Lucky.
Myra Long
I was
EP.
forgetting that. Oh my
I
god.
mean, before this, they would come. They would have. I mean, Radiohead has a ton of EPs before they released
Yeah, but
albums. They would release the My Iron.
But can we please
My
talk-
Iron Lung EP, which is one
Which
of their
has
best
a
EP.
song
to me,
that-
to me is one of their best EPs. It has a Trickster on it, and Punch Drunk
yes,
Love
I
Sick.
love Myra Long
Punch
EP.
Drunk Love Sick sing along is awesome.
Yeah, and Louis Miss. I mean, it's a great EP. To me, it's one of the best EPs of the 90s.
I
to be
think my
honest.
favorite song on the EP would probably be Losange of Love. More than My Iron Lung, actually. I think a Losange is better. How the fuck? Losange?
Lozenge.
Lozenge? I don't fucking know how you pronounce that,
Lozenge.
dude. Lozenge?
It's like a
Lozenge?
cough drop.
What the fuck's a
Lozenge.
lozenge? It's like a
Cough
pill
drop. It's a
thingy.
fancy cough drop, basically.
Yeah, it's a pill thingy. Okay, Lozenge of Love, I think is the best track of the EP.
My last
Myra
name
Long
is
EP
similar
is
to the
really
word
good.
lozenge,
Lasagna.
so I would know. Yeah.
I mean, the Trickster kind of appears like an early Muse song, but then it's just you realize it's good.
Fade all the way
Uh-oh.
to
You realize,
Insta.
Stinky.
then you realize it's good, and
Oh,
then
no.
you have another difference to what fucking Muse is. But
Guys, we're not Halo. We can't talk about
Muse
Muse.
podcast when?
no, no,
No,
please.
please.
I mean, I don't want to shit on a band for like half their no, not even 90% of their discography, but
What
That would be
album?
fun, though.
What Muse album do you like, dude? What is the good one in your
Uh,
eyes?
I guess Origin of Symmetry is fine, but then the other one they got is it's better. What was the name of it?
Absolution?
Absolution, yeah.
Okay, at least you recognize their best album. Okay.
But then
If you
after,
said, like,
after
fucking
that, it's just
Showbiz or
whining
something.
and when they try to compare Muse to Radiohead, I mean I don't
Because
I
of
don't-
Showbiz.
yeah, because
and
of Showbiz, and I don't like that debut of Muse. It's fucking stupid.
Showbiz is probably their second weakest album. Their most weak being their latest.
and people
I've heard
adore
their
it
entire
because
discography,
they
yeah.
say, "Oh my god."
At this point, it's just a meme, though. It's always been a meme about Muse and Radiohead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I find the similar.
I mean, they had a lot of similarities between Showbiz and this era of Radiohead because they have the Trickster, which sounds pretty much like a Showbiz song, but it's good. So that's the difference mainly. The Trickster, Punch Drunk, Lovesick, Sing Along, and Losange of Love, and plus My Iron Long, are some of the best executed tracks from this era of Radiohead. I love this EP. This EP, it's good. It's a
Okay.
I mean, I
Can I say something about the Myra Long track itself?
say
I hate the guitar tone. Like the guitar sound.
Where?
I
Which
think it's
one?
terrible. Like the thing in the intro. You know,
Oh, I
I
love
love
that.
that.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Dun, dun.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, Radiohead can't do anything wrong in my eyes. And
It's
that's the
I
problem.
like that it's like pitch shifted like an octave up, so you get that weird kind of effect to it.
I
Really
don't
good.
like it. I think it's like very noisy and dirty, and I don't think it fits the track.
Well, I actually do like. I like the guitar. Like
you're very.
it has.
noisy and
It's
dirty,
memorable.
but you know.
It's memorable too. Like
Yeah.
I thought you were going to complain about the guitars and the, I guess what we would call the chorus, where it gets really noisy and distorted. But
You guys love noise music, though?
I love noise, and I gotta say this.
I appreciate. I can appreciate it. Yeah.
I love noise, but
I like life in a peaceful new world. Yeah, I can appreciate it.
You like that? Okay. It's great. Nothing to say wrong. I wasn't expecting you to like it. Well, My Iron Lung has so many. Like after this one, they would release The Bends, which is one of my favorite Radiohead albums. Straight
Same.
off the bat.
It.
And
Same.
it has one of my
Yeah,
favorite
it is
Radiohead songs,
not
which is
same.
A Street Spirit Fade Out. Is one
Oh,
of
that's a beautiful
oh, that song is great.
Oh my god, yeah. Street
Radiohead
Spirit.
songs.
You're all gonna
That's-
hate me. You're all gonna hate me here.
Oh god, here we go.
Because I love the Bends. I love the Bends as an album, but I really don't think Street Spirit is the best. Like
you're
it's
stupid.
really good. It's really
No,
good
no,
a track.
I
It's
don't
really
think
good.
it's the best song on the album either. I just think it's fantastic.
No, but I
Okay,
wouldn't
yeah.
even place it in the top 5 of the album.
What?
That's
Not at all.
stupid.
Not at
That's
all.
fucking
To me, the best
retarded.
song
I
of
prefer-
the album
okay,
is
so-
Bulletproof next to Street
Okay,
of Spirits, and
Oh,
Oh, I love
Bulletproof
Bulletproof.
just comes.
Bulletproof is beautiful. Love it.
Look,
Okay,
my
but
my
I
favorite 5
love
of the album would probably
Street
be
Spirit so much
trees.
that I
Big
played on
Classic
the
Trees.
channel.
No, the best is the title track and then Fake Classic Trees, then Street Spirit.
Also,
Okay,
High and
so-
Dry.
High and
Oh, yeah,
Dry,
High and- oh my
Fake
God, High and
Plastic,
Dry
Nice
slap.
Dream. I really like Nice Dream.
Nice Dream is one of my and just
Oh my
I
God, I
love
love
just.
Just
I
is
love
good.
Just.
Bulletproof is good. Black. All I think
All
the reason
songs
why I
are
like the
great. All
Bends,
songs
the
are great.
Bends in my eyes has not like. Tell me what song on the Bends is bad. You can't.
There's not a bad song. There's a
No,
Yeah,
few
that's not a
that
bad song.
Well, considering
The
I have the
worst-
Benz at a 10, I can't say there's a bad song.
Black Star.
For me, there's not a
I
bad
like Black
song,
Star.
Black Star
but
is great.
there
What
are
are you
some
talking
weak
about?
songs.
Planet
There's some
to
weak
Planet.
songs
There's no
for
bad
me.
songs.
I like Planet Tail X.
However you
Like-
say. I don't not as the opener. I think it's kind of weak as the opener.
Yeah, that's one of the weaker songs of the album for me.
It's
I
one of
would
the
al-
weaker-
I love
but I
Planet
s-
Tail X.
but I
Come
still-
on.
Yeah, I still like it. Like I would call the Bends. Like I know that this word makes it seem like it's a perfect album, but I think it's a masterpiece. But it's not perfect. Like it's a masterpiece in the sense that it's very well made. It has no weak tracks. It's consistent. Has a good opener, a fantastic closer, lots of bangers in between. Very memorable. But I don't think it's perfect nonetheless because it's like it just doesn't go. Like I don't think anybody will say the Bends is their favorite Radiohead album here.
I said that for a long time, but I don't think that anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I mean,
can
like,
say
it's all the
close to
songs
being-
are
I mean,
very good.
if I can say it's one of Honestly, it's kind of close to being my favorite Radiohead album, but some
Mm.
albums like
Ben's is
it's-
top three
I have
for
it.
me.
I have it at
It's one
number
of the
three.
most. It's one of the
For
most
me-
emotional Radiohead albums, I think.
Yeah, it's really depressing. Like
Yeah.
I would well yeah in some I find it one of the sadder albums in the grand scheme of Radiohead. Like
yeah,
that's true.
the saddest I think would be probably Moon Shaped Pool.
Yeah,
but
I'd agree with that. Moonshade Pool's
it's just a
sad.
sadder.
I don't really.
Better
I never really saw the Benz
and
as
before
sad,
to
but-
take this out of the way,
mean,
Moonshaped Pool is one of the
The
weakest
Benz, the
Radiohead
Benz
albums.
has
Okay,
really
Shut the fuck up, Chris. You're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
who the fuck be talking
What?
shit about a Moon Shaped Pool?
Cringe is.
save it for the
Yeah.
wait. Okay,
Yeah,
can I
yeah.
just say
Let's save
We're
it.
getting ahead of ourselves, people.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's.
Gonna beat
Okay.
someone up here.
Can I say
So-
my opinion about the bands?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's not my favorite album, and it's really far from my favorite Radiohead album. But because there's some weak parts that I don't really care about here, like Planet Telex, for example, but also has some of my favorites, like Fake Plastic Trees and Just. And on Street Spirit Fade Out, that riff is
That's a beautiful
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very depressing. I love
Yeah.
it.
Can I say mine?
Say
Yeah.
Of course you can. Radiohead sad.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I love all the songs on the album, but I think the actual sound, like, it's one of my least favorite. Simply, I mean, it's not my favorite because, like, the sound of other albums for me personally is just my preference, that I like more of the electronic, and I don't know, but
Yeah. Post
thing
Kid
that, yeah, but one thing I can say, I sing Fake Plastic Trees all the time. Like, that's like one of my favorite songs vocally for me to sing.
I
as
cannot lie, I do that too.
Me too. Yeah.
And
I sing a lot of. I cannot hit the high notes, but I do it anyway.
yeah, same.
I-
know, really well. No, I'm a high soprano.
Oh
Um,
god.
And then yeah. And then the Street Spirit, I can play the guitar riff on the piano, and I love that. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay,
By the way, one thing.
Let me say my take on it.
Learning that Street Spirit Fade Out riff on guitar is very hard because your pager is so weird.
At one
But
point,
once you get the hang of it,
at
it's
one point
easy.
I knew the entire fucking album on guitar, but then I just forgot many of the songs. I just remember the ones I love, which are Street
I
Spirit,
consider
Bulletproof, and the Bends.
If we could come back to that, if we could come back to that riff on Street Spirit, it's really cool because it's kind of this thing that Radiohead does a lot
Mhm.
with the guitar parts, where it's sort of these like simple note patterns, like without really a lot of distortion, just a bunch of notes ringing out kind of quickly, which would be really iconic for, like, a lot of their most iconic riffs are built around that. Like a lot of stuff on OK Computer and in Rainbows especially.
Yeah.
It's
oh
really
boy.
clean, jangly
Okay,
guitars.
computer. Mm.
Yeah.
We're getting
wait,
close
can
to
I
the
say what I want to
case.
say about the Benz real quick?
Yes, you can, Pogo.
So, okay, so the Benz is a good album. It is lower on my list for Radiohead albums because I don't know. I feel like they just moved past this. Like what this album did right, I feel like they did even better on later albums.
This is my
Sure.
This is my take. The Benz is one of the best Radiohead albums, but is disregarded because it came at a bad moment in the discography, after Pablo
Yes.
Honey and before one of their great albums. Like,
Well,
I mean,
anything would be eclipsed
look,
by
look,
OK
anything would
Computer
be
and
eclipsed
Kid
by
A.
OK Computer and Kid A. I mean, let's say this. The Benz is great for
Oh,
what
fuck.
it is. It's regarded as one of the best grunge records, probably. And I think
I wouldn't call it grunge at all. I wouldn't call it
People
grunge
just
at all.
adore calling it grunge. I just call it alternative
It'd be
rock.
considered
the same.
Brit pop.
Yeah, alternative.
I think it's
rock
like
is much
alternative
better
rock.
than
Yeah.
it.
I mean, to
Yeah,
me,
it's alt.
it's a masterpiece. It's close to being a masterpiece. I gave it a 9 personally, but not talking about scores. I'm talking about what.
Yeah, I gave it a
means.
9 too.
This album is personal. This album is kind of dark. It's one of their darkest releases. I love Street Spirits. I love the way that the album has the album is solid because the songs have somewhat of a relationship between the tones of the guitars and the tones of the drums, and I think that's fantastic.
Also, on the cover, there's a man coming, which
Yeah.
gives it more points.
I mean,
It's like with Death Grips that
it's
no
a
love,
very
but it's
existential
much
album.
better just because of the dick.
And I hate that most of the songs here are just not performed. Were just not performed in the same extent that some other songs were. I just love this record. Honestly, honest to God, at one point of my life, I preferred this to OK Computer for how personal this was, but then I just
Me too.
Mm.
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
I
So
still
we're-
prefer Toki Computer.
I still prefer Toki Computer. I rank it higher.
yeah, this
Same.
is just a great
Yeah.
album to me. I mean, it has some of my
Not to
favorite
take
songs.
points
on
You know
away
it.
what
from
albums I okay, because I might leave early, you know what albums I rank higher than OK Computer, because of personal reasons, and you
Okay.
guys are gonna crucify me for this.
Okay.
Oh god, here we go.
But Hail to the Thief.
I do that too.
No.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Shh.
Yeah, that's it actually.
High five, beauty.
Hell to the Thief is okay. Hell.
Okay, I just want to say I
like
never
Hell
heard
to
the
Thief.
Benz.
I like 2+2. Yeah, but we're gonna save that later. Okay, so
Have not been paid attention.
in the bands,
Wait, wait,
in
wait.
the bands is
Wait,
a
wait,
perfect
okay.
combination between the dreamy songs and the emotion they have on their songs. Maybe just because this is an album that is personal to me, but this is the kind of music that I can't explain in like at least at the moment, and how much not saying it's not fucking
Calm?
avant-garde and jazzy and fucking stuff, but it's personal, and it comes more to the lyrics and the way the songs are
What
structured
album is this?
than anything else.
The Benz.
What album?
Bands.
The Benz? Okay.
After
The
this,
calm.
Oh yeah, and also
Move on, I can't wait to
one
move
other
on.
thing. The vocal performance of Thom in this album is great too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it really
very
is.
emotional.
I mean,
And
to
it
me,
shows,
to me,
like,
the
if we're talking
the standout
technically-
things here are the bass. The bass is to me is just the one. That
Oh
makes
yeah, the
shit.
bass is great in
Yeah.
the Benz.
Yeah, too.
But oh my god, just it also shows really well how fucking wide his vocal range is, because he can go from the falsettos in Fake Plastic all the way to the quote unquote deeps on Bulletproof, I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
his-
good variety of vocal performances on the Benz overall.
He
Really
has a
impressive.
big dick, yeah.
yeah. After this, any conclusions
But
you
it,
would
but
like
it
to
only
give?
gets better.
Yeah, it gets better. Any conclusions you would like to give, guys? Any of you?
I kind of want to get some thoughts on the album, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
So the Benz for me is top through Radiohead. This album was one of the first full Radiohead albums I listened to a couple of years back, and it's still sticking with me as one of my favorites. Every song on here is just incredibly enjoyable, and while I think I have a bit of I require a bit more of a devotion to the later material, but for the bends and things like that, and I think just this era of Radiohead in general, when I listen to these songs, I feel like I can just kind of relax with them. They're not inherently background music, but they're a little less intense, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Intense on the just everything, which I can really appreciate.
To that point, I never heard the Benz as being particularly dark. I actually think it's their most anthemic kind of sing-along release to date.
I
Me
agree.
too. I was surprised when you guys said that it was depressing.
Yeah,
I think there are.
Yeah, it's
I think
actually
there
very
are-
happy.
Yeah, like Street Spirit.
Yeah, there's like depressing elements on the album. I wouldn't say as a whole it's not like a cohesive, depressive effort. But
Yeah,
there
I
are
wouldn't call
definitely
it-
moments.
It's more of a
Yeah.
dreamy
I wouldn't call
vibe.
it. I wouldn't call it their most. I wouldn't call it a depressive album, but it's
I call it a
between their most
lonely album.
depressive.
I think that's one of the descriptions.
Yeah, I-
too.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
dude,
totally-
when I said that I considered it a depressing album, I meant like on their discography as a whole. I didn't mean it like
No,
by
I think
itself.
they have
Oh,
because
okay.
more depressing
By their
songs.
discography, by their discography as a whole, I considered it their second or third most depressing album. Yeah.
So after this, they would come on 1997. They would take a 2-year break. They wanted to separate themselves from their image as being a one-hit wonder, and then they would go to a mansion. And this the context around an OK Computer is fucking weird and wide. Producers, Nigel Godrich fucking produced this shit, and Chris Blair mastered it, and something weird to me because they went to a mansion to record this stuff, like alone the one that they recorded Romeo and Juliet, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, I think it was. And they would record, and this album OK Computer in 1997 has a chambery sound to it, and that's something that
Okay.
sticks to me the
Wait,
most.
I think we need to. Don't we need to cover the Airbag EP first?
No, not first.
That came
Oh, no,
after.
that came.
That came after?
That came later, I think.
80. That came out in '98. Yeah.
that
Oh
came
yes.
later.
Well, my apologies. Let's continue with okay then.
It's weird to me that it came
Okay.
out later. I don't know. I'm not sure why it came out later.
Yeah, well, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Because Thom is quirky.
Maybe because of
No.
some like I want to believe it's because of
The label thing.
the label and the original stuff because they want to promote this record. That's what I want to believe with. But
Because isn't the only song that's consistent on OK Computer and Airbag, right? The rest of them are all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
Airbag has many, but we're gonna talk about that later. It has some songs
Yeah.
that I don't know why I removed from OK Computer. I think they would work better in OK Computer, but for later, OK Computer is hand in hand. It's better than the Bends to me.
To me too.
It's one of their high points.
Easily.
I think
In a different world from the Bends, honestly.
Airbag is a great
Dude.
opener. I just like
Airbag is really good in
Can
opener.
I say something? I don't really like Airbag. I don't really like it. I don't know why.
Airbag?
No,
I don't
Airbag's
really like
brilliant as the opener. I love
Brilliant.
that opening guitar, the looped drums.
Okay, so
it just works
I have
really
to say
well.
this. It's one of the high points
Wait.
of Radiohead. But it's not their best record.
Hey, guys.
It's not the best record of all time.
In Interstellar Blast, I'm back to say the N-word.
An
Nice.
interstellar blast.
Um,
I'm back to save the end.
so after it's one of their high points, but it's not the best Radiohead album too. It's not the best album of all time. I mean, this is kind
I
of
agree.
over.
Oh yeah, by far it's
Well, yeah, the best album of all
overrated a
time is
lot.
Viper. One of
No.
Viper's.
Viper releases, yeah. It has
Joke.
some of the best
Every
songs
single
of
Viper
alternative
release.
rock. I mean, so many songs here I can just say out of my mind, like Paranoid Android, Karma Police, No Surprises, Lucky, Exit Music for a Film, Let Down. All the songs here are fucking great. The only songs that I don't kind of like click with are Electro Engineering and The Tourist.
I love that song. Oh my god.
I thought it was electroneering too. It's electioneering.
Yeah, I did not know that for years. I always
That's a
called it
Mandela
electioneering.
effect thing, right? there. Even though the Mandela
Subterranean Homesick Alien is one of my favorite tracks by the band.
Yes,
Really
same.
good.
Oh my God, I love that song.
the only
It's
track
so
in the
beautiful
entirety
and
of
spacey.
that I think the only track that I don't click with completely and okay is Lucky, not because I don't like it, because I remember every time I hear it I like it, but because I don't remember how it sounds. Like I've heard it
I don't
several
remember
times in
either.
my life. I have no clue how it goes.
Bruh.
Holy
Paranoid Android. I mean,
That happens to me with The Tourist.
Fitter Happier
The what's
is one of
Phallus
those.
said.
It's a weird transition for
Fitter,
the album.
happier,
Like, a weird
Yeah.
more
midpoint.
productive.
Fitter,
But the album
happier.
itself, it's
And
great.
I think this is the time when, first of all, Radiohead started making those concept records that I really like.
Regular exercise at the gym.
Okay.
Right? The concept
Okay,
records.
The concept
And-
isn't the concept just like
Yeah.
iPhone bad?
iPhone
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Isn't
Well,
it
no,
just
but
like
it's like-
computers bad?
Technology bad,
computers.
basically.
Yeah.
Technology.
This album feels more like a claustrophobic experience than anything. Mainly because it
Yeah.
has a lot
Well,
of-
and then they started really digging into depression, mental health. I mean, dissociation, anxiety, depersonalization, all
they were
the.
touching that on the bands too. in a
Okay,
way,
my
but,
voice is echoing in the mic. I don't like that.
Hey
guys.
like that they came with those topics on the bands too, like songs with like Street Spirit, My Iron Lung. They were touching kind of those subjects too, but I think that the bands it's different because OK Computer has a much more artistic sound to this. They experimented more with the
Yeah.
production, not just the production, with the instrumentation.
So, fellas,
songs like
Fellas, do you all agree that Let Down is underrated?
They-
Like,
they
for
have- they
real,
have-
it's so underrated.
they have many
Wait,
like the songs touch different styles. Airbag is not the same as Paranoid Android. Paranoid Android is
Not
not,
at
the
all.
same as
Not at
Karma
all.
Police.
Paranoid
Karma
Android
Police is different as fuck from Exit Music. Maybe my favorite track from the album.
Exit Music
Close
is
to me.
easily
It's
my
close to
favorite
me.
track.
Oh
of the
my
entire
god,
thing.
the ending of that song.
It I
Dude.
Comes.
Was
there
it
are
worthy?
there are very
It
there are very
comes.
few songs there are very few songs that can give me chills every single time, no matter the setting, no matter nothing.
Yes.
And Exit Music is one of those. Every
Yep.
single time he goes, fuck, I forgot the lyrics. Every single time, we hope you're sandwich and chills. Yeah. Every single time, instant chills. It's just so good.
Listening to it
it's
live,
one of
it's
those-
so
the
different
performance-
to me.
I
The
gotta listen to that now after I'm out of here.
Okay, so
and the drums are so good.
After OK Computer, I'm not gonna transition, but
Wait.
this album is just something more to me. It's not the best album of all time, and honestly, people told me this was their favorite.
Yeah,
record.
it being a number one on
Who actually
RYM
says-
fucking
If,
battle.
honestly,
No one.
honestly, if someone told me this is their favorite record, I would go like, sure. I mean, it's great. It has
Yeah,
many aspects.
like
to it.
I agree.
Yeah.
People saying it's their favorite record, but it being the number one at all of RYM is just baffling.
This is actually my best friend's favorite album. He was supposed to be here, but he could not make it. This is his favorite album of all time, and he was kind of the person who turned me on to the gospel of Radiohead in the first place.
Oh,
Ooh,
so we're
wow.
talking gospel. We're talking Jesus is King now. What
No,
the fuck?
stop.
We
Okay.
have to
Okay,
talk about
wait, but
Kanye.
did you guys listen to OK Computer first? That's what I did, obviously. I mean, I think most people did, right?
No,
It was my
Pablo Honey was my first
first
radio.
album
Oh my
the first album I
God.
listened from Radiohead was with my sister when the Benz. She had a Benz copy.
Wait,
Yeah,
actually-
not a
it was
Benz
the
copy.
My
Benz.
first
She
one
had
was
a
okay.
couple
No,
of
actually,
songs
no,
from
wait.
the Benz when
My-
I was 8 years old.
Okay,
And
My first Radiohead album was
she-
actually Kid A.
okay. So this is good.
I don't
good
I have
like
a
it
I have an interesting
compared to
experience
other
with
Radiohead
OK
albums.
Computer
But we're gonna go to
because my first Radiohead album not only was OK Computer, it was OK Computer, OK Not, OK Not. I heard it while
nice.
boarding a plane. I heard it for the first time while boarding a plane. And Fitter Happier happened just as the plane took off. And I was clutching just the armrests, wanting to die because I loathe planes. Just ice clenched against the back. And I was just hearing Fitter, happier, more productive. And I swear I ascended. I fucking ascended at that moment. I was just like, just dying while
you
fucking
did the
while
cover
Steve
of
Hawking's
Benz.
corpse was talking to me. So, OK Computer will always just have a space in my head and in my heart because of that specific experience, which was taking off in a plane while listening to it for the first time.
And it was soundtrack so blind.
Yeah, Gary. Hey, gang.
Yeah.
For sure.
Gay gang. Okay,
And
of course,
I wouldn't call it their best. Neither will I call it a 5 out of 5. It's a 9, a very very strong one.
Yeah, I give it a
Yeah, same. I
I-
think it's a 9.
They
It-
have
It's a
it-
really really strong
I
9.
I
think
personally don't think it's a
everything
10.
they do is 10.
I don't think it's a 10 because for me it has some weak spots
Same.
like the tourist and climbing up the walls. I really don't care for those tracks. Like they're good, but they're underwhelming. I don't think they make the masterpiece that some of the other songs are in this album.
I
It's-
think
it-
I think OK Computer is it's just not as good as Weezer. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
Okay, so Gary. Okay, everybody, shut up. Gary needs to give his take.
I mean,
Go,
okay, for context, this is based on an argument we had in in like the Discord server we're all in a while ago, where I was like, "Yeah, Weezer over Radiohead," and we were like, "Oh, it's he must be joking." I was like, "No, that's actually my opinion." I think
Yeah, it's
Weezer
actual
He
head
likes
ass.
Pinkerton
It's
more than
actual
he
head
likes
ass.
OK Computer.
yeah,
He likes Pinkerton more than anything Radiohead's ever done.
yep. And I am.
And I
so
wonder
proud.
why I'm friends with him.
Fucking-
I don't know,
I mean, he
Pinkerton's
doesn't
pretty
give
good.
a dick.
Pinkerton is really good. I mean, Pinkerton. Side note.
Okay, please.
Cringes.
Okay,
Cringes. Pinkerton.
As a
review.
woman, I like Pinkerton,
Sideways,
and I'm not an
sideways.
incel.
So, like
woman.
a side note. My Pinkerton review to me. It's not bad. It's not a bad album, but it has its head so far up its ass that I cannot.
Still talking about
enjoy it.
Pinkertons?
Yeah, yeah.
I can say the thing.
That I can't
about
enjoy
OK
it more
Same.
thoroughly.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
I honestly,
I'm-
I
honestly
think
think
I thought Pinkerton was alright,
I thought
but
Pinkerton is a
it's
7.
not at all
I
a
mean,
10.
Pinkerton-
Yeah, same,
Pinkerton
exactly
is
a 7.
and that's as
Pinkerton
good as
is like
Weezer
7.
gets.
A
That's
9
as good as
bordering on
Weezer
me
gets.
now.
I don't
Pinkerton's a
think
9.
at all
Pinkerton is a 9.
it's not a 9. It's
Pinkerton
not
is
a
a 9
9.
in my dreams, man. I wish.
Pinkerton is a 9 because it just is. Like,
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's
when I
not.
when
It took a
I, when
lot
I
of warming up.
listen to
It
Pinkerton,
It took me a lot of time to warm up to both Pinkerton and OK Computer.
So
and
this is my own experience. I mean, I only have few experiences. I was in a car listening to Red. That's one of the only stories I can say. So I was basically at the time I was getting into Radiohead. Well, I was listening. I always tried to get into Radiohead, but I couldn't because I was
Same.
a high schooler that didn't. The only album I liked from Radiohead for a long time were the Bends and Hail to the Thief. And after that, they at the same time that I was starting to get into Radiohead, I started listening to Weezer more, and
Mhm.
I got to listen to
Did
Walking
he-
Computer, Kid Amnesiac, and Wizard the Blue album, Wizard the Green album, and Maladroit, Pinkerton, and Everything Will Be Alright. And I think that's the name.
Actually, yeah, I was listening to
was-
Weezer the same
but
time as
I
Radiohead too.
I
That was
starting to
in
listen
7th
to
and 8th grade.
Pinkerton, and then I got more because at the time I was already a prog head. Like I started listening to more quote unquote pretentious stuff like Harmonium or fucking Nemo or other pocket bands that
isn't that the fish?
yeah.
Yeah, bro, it's like the fish.
I was listening to fucking Amnesiac and then to Pinkerton and then going back to Talking Computer and then going back to Pinkerton and I was trying to figure out what people saw on Pinkerton and I can thoroughly say that Pinkerton is not a bad record. It's not a 9
It's not
because
bad.
it has many flaws. It has many flaws in their
Pinkerton is like Pablo Honey. It's not a masterpiece, but it's not bad either.
It's a masterpiece.
Really?
a pop
It's not a
masterpiece.
masterpiece.
Gary
It's
gave it
not
a
a
10.
masterpiece.
It's
You gave
tuneful.
Pinkerton a 10?
Oh yeah, Pinkerton is one of my favorite albums of all time. Hands down. Balls on the fucking table. Better than anything Radiohead's ever done. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Okay, okay.
Christ
So
almighty,
you
the
can't like
motherfucking banner's
Pinkerton.
too big.
You guys can't like Pinkerton without seeming creepy and incel. I can like Pinkerton because I'm a woman and I don't sound like an incel, and I'm actually half Asian too. So like
that just means the Rivers Cuomo is now like objectifying you.
Okay, so
yeah.
this is
I know.
my
Yeah.
opinion. This
Goddamn half
album is
Japanese.
liked, and I got to understand this for a bunch of records. I respect people that like Pinkerton because
I do
it's
not.
a personal.
I
Because
do not.
it's a personal record.
And take into account that I rated it a
It's
4.5 out of
more
5.
personal than anything other bands have.
Yeah, I mean, did Thom Yorke ever talk about his fetish for Japanese women? No, he did not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, because
no,
he
no,
was
it's not
already
that
in a
great.
committed relationship to his partner by that point. So he
Without
No,
any-
pussy.
Thom Yorke.
Without anything.
Dude, OK
Remember-
Computer doesn't talk about Japanese
This
girls. It's not a
album
masterpiece.
has flaws in production wise, mixing wise.
What are the mixing flaws in Pinkerton?
Fellas.
Okay, wait. Are we still talking about Pinkerton? We're on freaking radio.
Oh my god, this is Music Buddies Weezer podcast.
I could be shitting
We
on
should
entire
just
Weezer
do
discography for all.
Okay, but actually, guys, remember that the song "Knives Out" is all about how Thom Yorke likes to receive heads to,
Likes to what?
how he likes to receive head.
And Weezer has
Wow.
a fucking
Is Knives
album
Out
called
really
Make
about that?
Believe that has a song
Look-
called
look into
Beverly
my
Hills
eyes.
and Perfect Situation. It has a song called We're All on
Flash his
Drugs
head,
and just
put him in your mouth.
Wasn't that fucking what was the song that went? You can lick it, but it will not fart. You can taste it, but it will not come.
The Planet
Planet
Tila.
Telex.
Yeah.
Yeah, Planet Telex.
No.
Isn't that one about just like sucking dick? Like it has to be. It has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Okay, so let me put it straight. If you
I
like
refuse.
Pinkerton, good for you, fella. But it's just not musically as
Can we just go for Kid A already?
Yeah, okay.
Stop
Yeah,
talking.
please. Why did we talk about Pinkerton for like 10
No,
minutes?
no. Airbag EP, fellas.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
really
yeah, yes,
important.
Okay,
yes,
so
sorry,
to
sorry,
put
sorry.
it in, I'm sorry for if you're listening to this and you get triggered, or if you agree with fucking how overrated Pinkerton is, because I think Pinkerton is more overrated than anything Radiohead ever did. In the I mean, for people that I know,
I agree.
but OK Computer is a great record. It was a mark on many people and inspire them to make music because of how different this album is. It has many styles in it of itself, and I think it's great for what it is. If
100%.
people told me this is their favorite album, I could understand, like, agree 100%. I would go like, yeah, sure, Maiden. It's great.
Yeah, it's a Dark Side of the Moon situation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't
Yeah,
agree on it being
exactly.
a masterpiece. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's an album that I
But I
find
wouldn't-
overrated, but I still gave it a 10 anyway.
To me, it's more closer to 10
It's like
to a
most-
20.
Well, yeah,
Amen.
Most
because
of what you listen
you know
After
that
this, they would
the only
release-
reason
As
why we
Kanye
get
said,
is
amen.
sound.
They would release fucking Airbag and How I'm Driving EP on 1998.
Okay,
It has
Okay.
2 songs that I think should have gone on the album.
Okay,
I
okay.
love Airbag EP so much. Oh my
Airbag-
god.
and Pearly
I
should have
own
gone
it.
on the album.
Polyethylene is, oh my god. Palo Alto is, oh my god.
Okay.
Pearly is, oh my god. It's just, it's banger after banger after banger after banger. I believe that Airbag EP is equally as solid as OK Computer as a whole.
I
Because-
didn't hear the Airbag EP itself. I actually just heard the
Disc-
okay,
disc
not okay.
two?
Yeah, disc
Yeah,
2 of
it's
Not
basically
Okay.
the same thing, actually.
And I love that disc. It's
Yeah, it's
fucking
really-
amazing. It has some of the best Radiohead songs.
You
I
have to
don't
take into
understand
account
why it
that-
wasn't on OK Computer.
You have to take into account that How I Made My Millions, Lift, Man of War, and I
Yes.
Promise are not on Airbag. They're not on Airbag, so let's not get ourselves confused here. But
Yeah, but
the songs
Lift
that
is
are on
one of my
Airbag are
favorite Radiohead songs.
Lift is really beautiful. Yeah.
I do like Lift a lot, yeah.
This
Yeah,
album,
we're not here to
this
talk
EP is good for what it is. I mean, it's not something mind blowing, but I like it a lot. It has some
I find it a-
songs that I think should have gone OK Computer, but some songs that I understand they would cut off, like Meeting in the Aisle.
Yeah, like fucking Meeting
and
Idol. Dong.
Reminder. I don't think they would have dragged out a fucking
Yeah, Meeting in the Owl and Reminder were the weakest. Yeah, 100%.
yeah. But
Yeah, I
Polyethylene
agree.
and Pearly and Palo Alto are great songs.
Mi Palo Alto.
Palo. You have a Palo Alto.
Palo Alto.
Just
Gary has a very alto palo.
yeah.
El palo de Gary está bien alto,
Yeah.
bien grueso.
Same
y
concept.
Palo
suazo.
Alto is very alto
Yeah.
when
And
he
after
looks
I
at
mean,
Japanese
this
girls.
is a good like properly good album. EP.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I wouldn't
Youth
call it
album.
like great. I wouldn't call it like mind blowing or anything. It just has
I call
great
it-
songs.
I call it just as good as OK Computer.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Okay.
go that far.
No, I wouldn't go that far either.
If it
I have
if
not
the-
even listened to Airbag, and I wouldn't agree.
Like,
Amen.
Hey
Amen.
Gary,
Gary.
I
Like
think
the-
you want to continue the Pinkerton for how triggering.
No,
it is.
no more Pinkerton. Next person.
no,
Pinkerton,
no,
come on,
get
Pinkerton,
Kid A.
come on.
Please,
No, no, no,
just
no.
go for Kid A. Let's go for Kid A. Go for
Yes,
Kid A.
Yes, please,
Please,
please.
please,
Let's
God,
go
have
with Kid A, do
mercy.
it, please.
Let's just talk about Kid A.
Okay, so
Lemon.
the airbag,
Lemons.
The airbag EP
Yes.
is good.
Yeah.
I
It's good.
disagree on that. It's just good. After
Ball.
this, they would go. They would have the. I think Kid A is the most overrated Radiohead record.
What?
Yes,
No,
I disagree
find-
so
I-
hard.
I like
Look,
Amnesiac
man.
more.
I disagree as
I
hard
like-
as my
Okay, that-
dick.
that I
Amnesiac
disagree
is
with.
better. Let me
Kid
put it
A,
that
No,
way.
is
you
like
Amnesiac
their-
is
their
better.
okay.
And Kid A.
I think
If
I find-
someone
Kid
came to
A
me and
is
said
a-
to me, "I liked Kid A on first listen," I would go, "Okay, bruh, how?"
I did. I did.
I did too. I did
I
too.
did-
It's
I
a
did too,
great
not gonna
fucking
lie.
record. It's a
thing is that-
masterpiece.
Look, Kid A, I say it's yes, to some extent it is a masterpiece. It has extremely good songs in it. It is really solid, but nevertheless, the amount of jerking off this album gets by both
Okay.
you, RYM, and just snobs in general, like
Anthony
Kid A's
I
dick
do
is
I
a
do
joke.
admit that.
How
You
much
can say
it
the
gets
same about
off.
OK Computer. What do you
After
mean?
this, let me get this out
But
of the way.
okay,
Let me
Computer
get
does
this
get
out of
much
the way.
more sucking.
But-
Let me get this
Yeah,
out
you
of the way.
think-
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
Computer has a bigger
let's,
dick.
Let's clear this out. Let's clear this out. Kid
No,
A is good. It's
it's
great.
a masterpiece.
Yes,
It's a
it is really
masterpiece.
good.
But it doesn't deserve the praising it does. It have.
I
Other
agree.
albums get overshadowed because of
I
this
disagree.
fucking.
I
jerking off
fully
this-
disagree.
I disagree.
I-
I disagree
I
completely.
find the rankings go my number three best, like my 1 and 2 have not yet been mentioned, but it's number 3, The Vents, number 4, OK Computer, number 5, Kid A.
When I say
That-
Amnesia
I
feels better,
disagree
it's
so
because
hard
it's a
with that.
more cohesive, not cohesive, but a more.
I disagree
Okay.
with that greatly. I'm sorry,
my
man,
God,
but
we're
that
getting
is
into
just
this. Okay.
wrong.
Kid A is
Dude,
better than
Amnesiac is not better than Kid A.
The clowning is
Amnesiac is not. That's
Clown
cringe.
Town by
You're a
Shoes.
clown.
Let me explain
You're a
myself.
fucking
Okay,
clown.
So,
You can't.
Kid A
Amnesiac
has
is not
many
better.
great songs. Everything in its right place. How to
It is
disappear.
all.
Shut
it
the
is
fuck
all
up, Dad. Stop
amazing.
sucking the dick. Let me finish this.
All of them are
Everything in its
amazing, though.
right
I mean,
place. How to disappear completely. The national anthem.
Idiotech
Idiotech is my favorite track from this album.
Oh,
Idiot-
Idiotech is really cool.
Idiotech is
Idiotech
great.
in Idiotech.
The
I swear-
sample,
Idiotech is
the sample
freaking
is
amazing.
Idiotech is Greenwood having a fucking schizophrenic attack. I swear to God, it's really good.
But I gotta say this, and hear me out on this one. I fucking think Kid A is one of the best records of all time when
Okay.
the songs are performed live.
I
I
have no
disagree.
clue.
I disagree.
Okay,
I can understand it, but I disagree.
so going specifically into the tracks in Kid A,
Okay, so
for me,
uh,
everything in its right
Yeah.
place is really good. Kid A is underwhelming for what the rest of the album is.
No.
yeah,
Dude,
No.
dude,
I agree.
Oh,
I
Gabe,
agree
Gabe,
with that.
so bad.
Phallus, thank you.
Gabe.
Kid A
compare
is
Kid A,
great.
compare Kid A to the
No,
national anthem, for
no.
God's sake.
No, the national
yeah, I
anthem.
prefer Kid A to the
is
national anthem.
Okay, that's you.
Overrated.
That's just you being a clown. So
The national anthem is overrated.
That
The
is
national
that is
anthem-
just
Uh-huh,
having
uh-huh.
his
No,
guts.
I will
The
say this.
national
I will
anthem
say
is
this.
really good.
The national anthem, I will agree with Cringe on
Okay.
this much. The national anthem was freaking amazing when I heard it live, but even still, no,
Look,
on the album there's still
I-
some better
I-
tracks.
On
How
the
to
national
Disappear
anthem,
Completely, really
I
good.
love
Just
the
a second.
last part with
Uh,
the improvised
give me a second,
thing,
please.
what the trumpets and shit. But the start is a bit underwhelming for me. I don't really like it at the start,
Yeah.
but then it does
They-
become
they
better.
take too
But I
long
mean,
to
I
start.
love every single track. I give it a 10. I give it a 10.
Yeah.
To
It's
the album,
it's
so.
honestly it's
Yeah.
a 10, but it doesn't deserve the jerking off it has. Like
I don't know, dude. I think OK Computer gets much more jerk. I'm kidding.
okay, Gary,
I
stop
think
fucking
so
jerking yourself off.
Gary, please stop sucking
Gary
Pinkerton.
with Pinkerton. Pinkerton is not as good as Kid A. Let me say just that. Pinkerton gets fucking raped by this album. It's just that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pinkerton is the best record of all time, guys.
So, anybody else want to say something about Kid A?
I want to say something about
love it.
Kid A.
I
is-
have some
okay,
beautiful
I kind of want to go
How
track
did
by
really, everyone has to talk about that like right now.
Everything
Motion
in its
picture.
right place is great. It starts off great.
Yes.
It has many
Yes.
great segments.
the vocal perform. I think that's the best vocal performance of Thom. Everything in its right place.
No.
I personally,
I
I
disagree.
Making me very uncomfortable.
That's daydreaming, but
The story
so
of
Oh,
this song,
no,
the
not
wait,
story
wait.
of-
Okay, I
like
I
the
forgot
history of
Daydreaming.
this album of how it's the fact that Thom Yorke made it. I mean, I think because it feels like it that many lyrics were just like a little
Yeah,
paper on a hat, and then it
I
goes
do
on.
like that.
I like
I
that.
love
Does
that
it make sense?
idea.
People go like, "Oh no, this has some intricate
I woke
meaning.
up sucking a
This
lemon.
has
So-
some intricate meaning to it." No, it doesn't have. It's just people having fun with their fucking OK
I
Computer.
woke
Yeah,
up
with
sucking a
lemons.
lemon.
I woke up sucking on a lemon. Yeah. So one song that is really underrated on Kid A, from what I've seen, is Tree Fingers. Tree Fingers is a really
Mhm.
solid track that does not
Yeah,
feature
it-
York,
it is
but it's
good.
still really good. It shows how instrumentally talented the rest of the band is and works really well with Kid A cohesively. And I think without Tree Fingers, like a song with just instrumentals that goes really good, Kid A would not be as good or cohesive. Because after National Anthem and How to Disappear Completely, they needed something to mellow down. And I think that Tree Fingers should be commended for that.
That's fair.
I agree.
Just saying.
I
You know
agree.
what song
I do
makes me
agree.
cry?
Fantastic
Okay,
come
can I-
down from the high of how does
Is motion picture soundtrack.
One other thing. Motion picture soundtrack
picture.
is one of the best closers of all time,
No.
in my opinion.
BRB.
No, but okay.
I do
mean,
think
motion
that
picture
it's
soundtrack is
so
great.
great.
The demo version as
Soundtrack.
a motion picture
And-
soundtrack is much better than the Kid A version.
Yeah.
Mansplaining.
I still have yet to decide that, but thanks for showing me that game. It's amazing.
It's fantastic. I know it is. That,
as
that
of now,
is
I
my
think
vote.
it's as
That
good.
is my
as the
vote for
original.
Tom's best vocal performance because oh my god, so brilliant. It's on the OK Not OK white cassette, by the way. If anyone can hunt that out online, do yourself a
This
favor and listen to the
is,
first motion picture soundtrack.
This
Yeah.
this album is something polarizing for me. I love it. I gave it a 9. It's not a like my standards for a 10 are not kind of high, but are high to me.
Mine are not.
This album is great. Let me say that it's one of the best albums of the decade, like at the time. But it's not the best album from 2000 by far. Great things have come with
Um,
it. I mean, Live Your Fits fucking just rips this album out of the blue.
What album are we on?
Live
No,
Your
no, it doesn't.
Fists to from Godspeed, and it came
It
out
does
in
not. No, it doesn't.
2000. I'm talking about the year through 2000. After
The only album out of 2000 that can possibly contend Kid A for me is "And the Nothing" by Yo La Tengo.
That is true. That is one of the greatest albums.
Oh, no, and "Flood" by Boris.
Oh yeah, double win.
after this, I mean, this album is
Okay.
the fact that this album came out is fucking amazing to me. Just the fact that it got recorded, like the way it was recorded, is just the history of Kid A is intricate. It is just something that we can talk about for hours on end, and it has many great songs like "Everything in Its Right Place," "In Limbo," "Idiotech," "How to Disappear Completely," the national anthem. But I think Radiohead has done better, and if people the same with OK Computer, if people told me this is their favorite album of all time, I agree. Go ahead, it's your choice. I mean, it's great. I can totally agree on that. And yeah, I mean, I can see why people
Yeah.
love this record more than it's different. It has a more electronic sound. It's not inclined to the alternative rock and experimental rock that you had on OK Computer. But it's more experimental. It's more artsy in a way. I like to catalog this album as artsy, and it's more electronic and it has a more ambient to it, and I like that. I can see, but when I say it
Yes.
doesn't deserve to jack off, it does because I think this has more jacking off than OK Computer, in a way.
I don't think that.
And yeah,
You see,
I don't agree with that either.
Okay, so
Okay,
how did
so-
this,
let me put
How
it in
did-
like this. OK Computer gets casual jerk off. Like people just walk by, jerk a little bit, just go around the tip. But
This is a great
by a lot of
analogy.
people, yeah. But people just like go up and there you go. Kid A has full blown just hordes of people. Not as many as OK Computer, not by far. But the people who suck its dick just go so hard on that sucking, they deep throat that
Yep.
shit. So that's why I think
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I do agree with that.
I have
do
no
agree
shame
with
though. I have no shame.
get here.
that. I have no shame.
Like,
I'm
get
gay.
here,
I'm
that
gay.
just-
I have no shame.
I mean, you just admitted you're gay, man. You have to eat anything. You're from Venezuela. You need to eat something. And I mean,
okay, but
I
motion
suck
picture
Kid A's
soundtrack.
dick any day.
Everything in its right place, motion picture soundtrack, and In Limbo.
Thank you. Someone said
Related to
something
me
about
Limbo was
really,
great.
really, really well. This was like when I was in 8th grade. I listened to OK Computer, but I mean, with my mental health, I mean, like experience, like that song. Oof, no, sorry, those songs. It's too late for this. I'm sorry, I can't even talk.
it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, this album is when the lyrics from OK Computer and The Beds were personal. This album is personal with the sound, with the feel of
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lyrics have
Because
nothing
the
to do with
lyrics
it.
are just nothing.
I don't give a fucking I don't give a shit about lyrics in most situations. For those of you who know me here, know that I really don't care about lyrics because I can't understand them to a certain degree because I'm retarded like that. But
No.
I understand that the
worry,
Benson
dude.
OK Computer has really good lyrics, and I agree completely.
I remember.
The sound
I
of Kid
remember
A
when
just
years
really
ago,
resonates with
I
you.
remember when years ago I found an essay that just tried to explain how poetic the lyrics were and how intricate it has. I mean,
That's
that
so
kind of jerking
stupid.
off, it's not
Now-
deserving of this.
Now
record.
that is like fucking full on
Yeah, that's
blowjob
just
on Kid
flopping
A.
the knob.
Okay, can I say one thing? Like, the first time actually that I was introduced to Radiohead, well, I don't think it was introduced, but my English teacher told me once about one of the phrases in "Optimistic" of the lyrics. I don't remember which one it is. Like the best you try is sometimes
The best you
I don't
can is good enough.
Yeah, exactly that one. The best you can is good enough. Like he was trying to encourage me to do my work, whatever. And that lyric stuck with me so hard. Like, "Optimistic" is one of my favorite songs in there. Even if it on sound wise is not amazing as some of the others, I still love it.
I'm a finna jerk it.
after
Okay.
I mean, when you listen, when I mean that people, this album is something that you can appreciate with more listens. It's one of the few instances I can say, yeah, if you listen to this more times, you're gonna like it even more. But yeah, this album takes time to build up for most people, and I can see why. This is not an easy listen. Let me just say that this is not an easy listen for me. If this is,
I really can see that.
yeah, if
Honestly.
this is your introduction to Radiohead,
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend OK Computer or The Bends as an introduction, or In Rainbow.
Okay, the first time I listened to Kid A, I was in 8th grade, and it was 4 in the morning. I woke up early, and I'm like, I can't sleep. It's probably I think it was like a Wednesday. I don't even remember. And yeah, and I listened to it, and I felt so weird because it was. I mean, like in 8th grade, I was a noob.
Saying everything in its right place made me feel weird. What can I do about it? And the first time I listened to this, I was on a bus going to school, and I just didn't.
Nice.
I didn't know what to think of it. I got to Idiotech, and Idiotech is the one that stuck with me the most. And then the whole album just kind of played with me, because before, like years ago, I gave this thing a 6. I just didn't. And then I just started re-listening and re-listening and re-listening, and then it just grew with me. I think it is one of those albums. These albums that Radiohead like do. You have to listen to them mostly at the right place at the right time.
Guys, I'm curious and I'm confused because Idiotech is it not Idiotique?
I just say
Idiotech.
It's
Idiotech.
Idiotech.
I don't know.
Idiotech.
I don't even know.
I always thought it was Idiotique, but then one of you said
English language is
Idiotech, and I was like,
confusing.
oh, I'm Idiotech, yes.
I think it's supposed to be like idiotic, but it's like Idiotech. You know, the whole
Yeah, Gary,
Idiotic.
stop with
fancy
the
thing.
Pinkerton.
I always just thought of it as like a fancy way of like idiotic. So
I just thought like boutique.
Okay,
but
Gary,
Idiotique.
what do you think of Kid A?
I don't know.
Is it better than?
I think it's
Yeah.
great. I think it has some of their best songs. I think the highlight for me, a motion picture soundtrack for sure, but also How to Disappear
Yes, thank you.
Completely is just a beautiful song.
That song live is amazing too.
Oh yeah,
And I
on,
just say strongly, even now after all this time, the best versions of these songs are live. Just straight up.
So let's move on to I might be wrong then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be wrong. The
Exactly. Let's move there.
I might be wrong. The live recordings, to me, this is great. This is their best EP.
Yeah,
This is their
that's
best
great.
EP by far.
I-
And
I forgot to hear it.
the
I didn't
national
listen to it either.
anthem here is superior to the.
Oh
Kid
yes, the tone on that bass is great. I do have to admit
It's
that.
actually
the
Eugene.
7-minute version of Everything in its Right Place. It's better
yeah,
than
I was
the one.
about that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the
Oh,
ending
that
of that
looks
one is great.
That looks so yummy. I gotta listen to that
And
one.
the Idiotech
It's a great
performance
live
here is
album.
great. It's a great live EP, and I adore it. It has I
I
Might Be
adore it
Wrong,
too.
Morning Bell, like spinning plates. I can recite the entire album by memory. I like this.
Wait,
Honestly,
now I
if we count
remember.
EPs as my favorite like Radiohead projects, I like this more than Kid A, to be honest. And the same would happen with the next record, but I think I'm alone on that one.
Wait,
Yes, you are.
So I might be wrong. The only song I listened to on it, now I remember, is "True Love Waits."
Me too.
And let me say this: "True Love Waits" on "I Might Be Wrong" sucks ass. Like,
Okay,
sucks.
okay,
the
calm
studio
down,
version, It
dude.
sucks ass.
Okay, well,
Calm
No,
down,
I
dude.
won't calm down
No,
because
I
the
don't
studio,
agree with that.
I agree.
the studio
I-
version is one of the most
although
beautiful
I
things have
agree-
ever heard, and the live version success. So
Yes.
that's what. I'm
Although
gonna
I
do.
agree with Phallus, I still think it's a good song as
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is.
me
The
too.
It's
True
it's
Love Waits on
underwhelming.
Amon Shade
It's
Portals.
nothing compared to
Ugh,
the studio
orgasm.
version, but I like this live performance.
Yeah, I like that too.
It's nothing compared
not
to the
bad.
studio version. This one, but for what it is, I like it.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And
Well-
after this, what do you have to say about it, Gary?
I may be wrong. Live album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 7-minute version of Everything in Its Right Place surpasses the album version. Also the oh god, I'm
Disagree.
gonna make a clown of myself. There's a version of Idiotech on here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two is like where they really stretch it out and it kind of make the synths harder and harsher at some points. I think is really it's a solid live album.
Can I say something?
This is an example
There's
of how many of the songs from Kid A are better live to me. The only song that is not great live to me, that is better on the studio, is motion picture soundtrack. And yeah.
sure.
What do you have to say about it, Did?
Well, there was something that I really didn't like about this album, well, EP, whatever. In the idiotic version, there's this really annoying sound. I don't know what it is, like a synth or something, that I hate in
I
the
actually
live
kind of
version.
like that.
I hate it, and it just I don't
It's
I don't
noise.
know.
The synths are noisier. It feels like.
I mean, that specific sound I hate it, but the live version itself is great. If it wasn't for that sound.
And what do you have to say about it, Gabe?
I actually did not listen to.
yeah.
I might be wrong in its entirety. Unfortunately, I didn't get that Airbag, King of Limbs Basement, and I think that might have been. I think that's all I
So
forgot.
what do you have to say
Oh, and
about
I
it?
didn't re-listen to Pablo Honey either. So
really? You did? Oh.
I didn't. I've heard it before, but I wanted to kind of reserve my thoughts because I haven't heard it in a very long time. So yeah.
Fair
What do you
I
enough.
have
haven't
to
heard it
say
in
about
like
it, Gallagher?
4 months. A month, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have an opinion of it. I don't know. It's good, I guess.
After this,
It's just
after
Radiohead.
the I Might Be Wrong, they released
Here we go,
which are
guys.
basically
Amnesiac,
which are basically the scraps from Kid A, but I like it more than Kid A.
Amnesia.
Honestly,
There's some cool
it's
songs.
Okay.
Amnesiac on 2001.
Okay, at first, the first time I heard Amnesiac, I completely hated it, and I thought the only good song on it was Pyramid Song. But I recently re-listened to it, and I actually liked it. It wasn't as good as Kid A, and I think it has some really bad parts, but I liked it more than I liked it before. And Pyramid Song is one of my favorite Radiohead songs. Probably
Can play Pyramid
top
Song on the
two.
piano.
So
Black.
Amnesia is good. Amnesia is good.
Pyramid Song is really beautiful. Yeah.
So Amnesiac is the second lowest ranked Radiohead album in my rankings. Nevertheless,
It's the second highest for me.
oh man, that's curious. But nevertheless, it's a strong 8 because it just goes to show how good Radiohead is. But look, Packed Like Sardines. Many people don't like it. I dig it. It's really cool and weird, and I like
It's
it.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Then
alright.
just Pyramid, of course, is beautiful. Pull. I don't remember how the fuck that one sounds, but it's good.
That's not that great.
You and Who's Army, I think I remember it being all right. I might be wrong. Knives Out and Morning Bell Amnesiac are 3 bangers in a row. Dollars a
Morning
cent.
Bell Amnesiac is awesome.
Dollars a cent. It's all right. Hunting Bears, it's cool. It's weird and it's eerie.
Hunting Bears is a
Wait,
good
I
record.
was-
Like Spinning
Um,
Plates
that-
is
It's just cool.
a
Like Spinning
great
Plates?
track.
It's
That song is
way backwards.
amazing.
It's really good. It's weird.
It's
And
really
I
great.
think of like Spinning Plates, like the staircase that goes up to Life in a Glass House, which is
Oh my god.
undoubtedly one of the most beautiful Radiohead songs ever.
Mhm.
But you know which one is
Yeah.
better? The OK Minidisc version of it. It's superior.
Yeah.
I did not
Oh
hear
my
that
gosh.
version. Oh my god.
Have you never heard that version? Let me send
Wait,
that to you right
Please,
now.
please do, because I'm curious
Yeah.
now. I did not listen to all the mini
Send
discs.
it
I
to me,
rated them on
Neither did
ROM. I should not have, but I
listened to the entire minute.
There's okay. So if we're gonna talk about the mini disc really quickly, there's another version of Karma Police from OK Computer on that. It's just lo-fi acoustic guitar stuff. If I find it, I'm gonna send it to all of you because it's freaking
Yes,
amazing.
please send it.
Let
Send
me,
it.
let, let me say
Send all
this now,
those
now that
shits.
we're touching briefly on mini discs.
Okay, I think it's
Mini
this
discs
one.
has
Oh yeah.
many versions from songs that are even better to me.
So
Like
you
it has,
you wanna
it has
Yeah.
it has sorry Phallus, it has fucking, let me remember, it has a version of motion picture soundtrack that is better than the studio version to me.
hey Gabe, you wanna come? The first track on the entirety of the leaks is exit music for a film mishmashed with Life in a Glass House.
It's called Poison.
That's-
yeah, it's fucking great.
It's
Oh, I
my
think I might have
God.
heard that, and I might not have realized what I was listening to. Okay,
Let me
okay,
send
okay,
it
okay.
in the
Yes,
general.
please do, please do.
Just
Hold on,
send
give
it.
me
Send
one
it.
second here. Okay.
By the way,
so-
I might have to mute for about 10, 20 minutes, or no, not that much, but I think Yeah, I'm gonna say probably about 10 minutes. So would I be able to just kind of offer my thoughts on Amnesiac and Hail to the Thief really quickly?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
Go for it.
so Amnesiac at the moment I believe kind of sits as my lowest ranked Radiohead album, just because I haven't, or like second lowest I guess besides Pablo Honey, because I haven't given it as much attention as everything else. None of the songs have truly resonated with me as much as the rest of their discography. I even have songs that from Hail to the Thief that I still really adore, like 2 + 2 = 5. I'm trying to recall every song now because I haven't.
Wolf at the Door?
A lot of the stuff. Oh yeah, Wolf. Oh my God, Wolf at the Door. How can I forget that?
Flan.
Flat to the face, a flat to the face.
A lot of the stuff besides like In Rainbows from the mid 2000s period of Radiohead the 2000s period of Radiohead has not really stuck with me. Besides Kid A and In Rainbows, and I do need to give them a lot more attention. But while I do think that both of these albums are still, good, they're excellent actually.
Oh, you motherfucker!
I think I just kind of have I just have Amnesiac sitting at a tentative 3 out of 5 on RYM, and Hail to the Thief I think is at a 3.5, just because I haven't given them enough attention to really justify a proper score for them. But that's where I guess I kind of sit with them right now. They're definitely going to be worth revisits. I don't think Radiohead has a solid bad album. They've never really failed at making music before, or making good music before. So
Fat, ugly, dead.
Yeah, that's kind of all I got to say about those two albums. If I have any
something.
more thoughts that come to me about Hail to the Thief, I'll bring it up later. But yeah,
Okay, boy. Just go do your stuff. You come back whenever you feel. Okay?
okay, I won't leave. I just got to
So,
mute for a few minutes. Shouldn't take too long.
Okay.
He's gonna go jerk off, guys.
So Amnesiac. Amnesiac is an interesting case for me. This is the only Radiohead album I can say I have, besides In Rainbows, I have a personal attachment to. Amnesiac has I love all the songs here. And I'm sorry, Phallus, but dollars and cents is great.
What?
It's not just okay.
I found it to be alright.
It's alright.
I did like
how
I did.
this- compared to Kid A. This is more complex on the instrumentation, by far. It has more. It leans towards jazz most of the time, but
It's more experimentation than Kid A, but
It's a little
I
bit
don't
more.
know.
okay. So it starts with packed
Yeah.
like sardines in a crushed.
That one
tin-
sounds really
tin
tinny
bucket.
and cool.
I love it. I just love this song. Pyramid song is.
So-
I would
okay.
call it the best song on the album. But
In risk of being an
Yeah,
imbecile.
Pyramid
just to
Song is
confirm,
by
to confirm.
far the best.
Packed-
no, it's not
Packed
by
Like Sardines
far.
is the
I
one
mean,
that-
I mean, if people
wait.
told me Life in a Glass
Wait,
Well,
House,
for
Packed-
me,
Packed Like Sardines, just to make sure I'm not mixing anything up, is the one that started like with the dong da 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 dong 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 dong, like the weird metally sounds.
yeah.
Yeah, right. It's that one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
After this,
Yeah.
we have
After
Polk
years of
Revolving Doors.
waiting,
I love.
I'm a reasonable plan. Get off my
I
face.
love Pull Revolving Doors. I love You and Whose Army. I Might Be Wrong here is awesome. Better than the I Might Be Wrong EP version, the live version. Knives Out is just fantastic. Morningville Amnesiac is great. Dollars and Cents I adore. Hunting Bears is fantastic too. Like Spinning Plates, I adore how these songs, all these songs have different mini sections in and of themselves of instrumentation, even though they're the same song. I just love that. And Life in a Glass House is fucking great. And I think this album exemplifies all the members as being talented with their own instruments. Colin Greenwood is great with bass. Johnny Greenwood is great with guitar. Ed O'Brien is great with guitar. Philip Selway just is fucking awesome with the drums. I wish I could play like him on this record, especially on Life in a Lighthouse, like Spinning Plates and Pyramid Song. And Thom Yorke is just great with vocals and all the instruments he tries to play, like synths. And this album to me is stronger than Kid A for one simple reason. More so than the personal attachment is better because of how.
Can I broadcast my
because
thoughts
of
now?
the experimentation it has. And yeah, you can give your thoughts on.
Yeah, okay. So, first of all, I'm going to flex that I can play Pyramid Song, Life in a Glass House, and Like Spinning Plates on the piano. And the Like Spinning Plates is the version that's the live version, if anyone's heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
By himself, yeah. And then I played it for my mom actually this week, and she said that it was calming. but I would consider it absolutely not calming at all with the lyrical stuff. And just like the bear crying on the cover, that's me all the time. It's just I love it.
You're a bear?
Bear.
Okay, oh my
Oh
God.
yeah,
I'm a
I
bear.
thought
No
Gary
way.
was the bear.
Yeah, I'm the bear here.
it's a bear.
Yeah.
So this comes close as one of my favorite Radiohead albums. Just
That's cringe.
just overshadowed by some
That's
Preach.
other
Oh.
Radiohead projects, but it's more personal than whatever. I mean, if you like Kid A more, I understand. To me, it's more solid. Amnesiac. It has more. It just gives you more to taste with every listen. And Kid
I
A.
mean, I like that. Yeah.
And
It's not bad.
Cringe. You said it's your favorite, but it's not your favorite. What is your favorite?
In Rainbows is my favorite.
Okay.
Dude, in
That's your
Rainbow.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
After anyone else have okay, Phallus, give me your final thoughts in a sentence.
Of Amnesiac?
Yeah.
Cool and wonky. But wonky in the good sense.
Now, Gary, give me your
Okay.
review.
I remember I haven't heard this in a while, but both times I've listened to it, I found it just kind of okay. I'm a normie. I prefer Kid A to this.
Same.
Okay, so Dad, do you have your overwhelming review? Keep jerking off.
Well,
Kid
yeah.
A? Go
I
ahead.
just I'm gonna keep jerking off Kid A. Kid A is so much better but yeah, I mean, it grew a lot on since I re-listened to it exactly for this podcast. I gave it like a 4 before, and now it's on a 7. But yeah, it's an alright thing. It's not bad at all. But I just there's some parts that I feel like are really weak and bad that I don't like, but yeah, it's good.
Okay, so after this, they would come out with another record in 2003, which is a more political album. To be honest, a more it's called "Hell to the Thief." Just the name of it all, and just the cover.
All right.
And it
So
has
let
some of my favorite Radiohead songs, which are 2+2+5, and some of us and a song that Thom Yorke just adores playing live, which is Maximatosis, and
Yeah. And the gloaming. The gloaming.
the Gloaming.
Okay, so
Tom's
I'm
favorite
pretty-
song is the gloaming.
I'm ready to get clowns.
Okay, Gabe.
Hail to the Thief is their second best album in my opinion.
Yeah, it's great.
think
I
it's the
agree.
best.
I can agree with that.
It
think
is.
that's
Oh
I
my
agree.
god. So, first of all, it starts off with 2 + 2 = 5, which
That's
is
a
just
banger.
it's so good. I
It is.
I
It's
think
such a
Radiohead-
cool beat on that track.
Yeah, Radiohead
Okay,
has
so
certain
fellas,
songs that just,
let me interrupt you for a second. This album was my
Yes?
favorite Radiohead album for a long time, but for many reasons too.
respect.
which
Mad
is,
respect, dude.
This album has it goes back to the roots, kind of becoming an alternative
Yes.
rock album, and they perfect
Yeah.
what they were trying to do on Pablo Honey, and in the bands in a way.
So,
and
in my opinion, Hail to the Thief is their revival from 2 very experimental albums, and it is going back to more normal stuff, which led to In Rainbows. But Hail to the Thief still has that spirit that is present in Kid A, and it manages it perfectly. It has that rockiness from In Rainbows, and it manages it perfectly. It is so fucking good. Like 2 + 2 = 5 is one of those Radiohead songs that have the build up and the change and everything. Like Paranoid Android, like Exit Music. It's just one of those songs. Then Backdrifts is better than the entirety of The King of Limbs and everything The King of Limbs wanted to be. Then We Suck Young Blood is the most eerie track in the entire Radiohead discography, and I love it. Then after We Suck Young Blood, every single song after was not even going to specify because every single one is a 5 out of 5 song. Especially A Punch About a Wedding, Mixomatosis, Scatterbrain, and A Wolf at the Door. Which, A Wolf at the Door, you know why it's blessed? It's the closest thing that Thom Yorke ever did and never will do to rapping. So, it's just so good. It's not even, you don't have to call it personal or experimental or groundbreaking. It's just good. It comes.
It
Fuck's
does.
sake. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
so,
all I'll say.
Yeah, and remember it has the flan in it, and Phallus, you have personal connection to flan, don't you?
Well, I do love my flan.
Anyone else has to say something like that? What is your take on fucking Hell to the Thief?
Well,
I think you don't like it as much as you.
no, I actually like that. It's an 8 for me, but honestly, I don't really remember that much. Heard it once, but I remember I just liked it. It was all right. I don't really have much to say. That's why I was keeping quiet.
What do you have to say
Well, so
about
and I
Gary?
love the.
Oh wait.
Oh, okay. Udi, you want to go before me?
Oh, okay. Yes, so I love the political aspect too. Just like one of my favorite genres is punk. It's there, and so
I wouldn't
I
call this
listened
like
to
not even, it doesn't have like a punk feeling to it, not even lyric wise. It's just
no, just rising up
It's
against
up
the
tempo.
establishment and stuff is that idea.
uh oh,
And I've listened to their discography so much that at the end of the day, the album that keeps wanting me to listen to it over and over and over again is the Hail to the Thief. I mean, it's experimental enough, but it's rock enough. I don't know, and just it's just crazy. I love it.
It's the best mashup of genres that they have. That's what I like.
this album to me feels like Gary. Do you have your take?
I think it's solid. I actually haven't had that much experience with it. I remember it's not like one of my favorites of the Radiohead catalog, but it certainly has some of my favorite songs. Like 2 + 2 = 5 is awesome, and the songs people have been mentioning here, obviously. But it's just not one I have that much experience with.
To me, I mean, it was my favorite album for a long time from Radiohead. I wouldn't call it a 10.
Yeah, and so many memes.
Even at the time, I wouldn't call it a 10 out of 10. I would call it a 9, just as now. But it was my favorite because of a reason. Because of the, it has. This is gonna sound pretty, but it has many styles into it. It kind of tries to get the fact that what I Kick Up Beer tried to make in a sense. It has many styles on the songs. Like 2 + 2 = 5 is not the same as Where I End and You Begin. Not at all. I mean,
Not at all.
no.
It's
And a
so
Punch Up at
good.
a Wedding. You know what I love, the fact
A
that
punch
that
up
like
at a
the
wedding.
2 + 2 that not all the songs have little parentheses with the other like names of the song. Like 2 + 2 = 5 is lukewarm. Sit down and stand up. It's snakes and ladders. Sail to the moon is, I think it was brush the
Brush the
cobwebs out
cobwebs.
of this. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know those ones. I just know that the Spotify versions are.
yeah. Where Ending You Begin is The Sky is Falling. I prefer the other names of the songs, like the Lukewarm, Snakes and Ladders. I like to call Mixomatosis Jury and Executioner. But Mixomatosis may be one of my favorite Radiohead songs, and same with
I
2
got
+ 2 = 5.
doses.
It's great. It's just a great song. It's a great album overall. To me, it's just,
And how many memes have been generated from
Flat to the
Thief?
face.
yeah.
I mean, a flat to the face has done some.
But yeah,
Some-
There's one picture with the cover of it with the lyrics of Yellow Play that is fucking amazing.
Oh no, and then there's sorry, for myxomatosis, people made like memes of like I have mix on my toeses. Like I don't understand. Whatever.
So
Wow.
after
2 + 2
this album
is
has
5 is a meme all of
this
itself.
album has some kind of Radiohead have done better than Hell to the Thief, but I can
Oh no, they have not.
but I wouldn't call it their best album. I wouldn't call it their worst album. It's just kind of a midpoint in their discography for me. But honestly,
Yeah, same.
it's something that I hold dear in my heart, and I just love this album, and I really like it a lot. After Hell to the Thief, they would come on with my basically the fact that they were trying to give people the way they were making changes in music in general with their marketing tactics all the time. The fact that they were going online and say pay what you want, what you think you need to pay.
Yeah,
for
they
the
were one of the
record.
first bands with a big presence on the internet.
Yeah.
Are we on In Rainbows now?
Yeah. We're
We
just
just started.
transitioned to In Rainbows.
Thank God.
And now that In Rainbows was put on like pay what you think you should pay for the record. I think that's a great marketing tactic. I don't have a physical release. I am never able to pay for physical releases. Almost never. I get to buy like with luck 2 CDs at a month.
Ooh,
Maybe.
I saw Hail to the Thief in a record store, like three weeks ago, and I was this close to buying it, but I was already buying 2 albums there, and I was gonna feel bad if I bought a third one. So next time I go to that record store, if it's still there, I'm snagging it.
So in
I have a copy
Rainbows
of
came
In
out,
Rainbows
and
CD.
in Rainbows, it's my favorite Radiohead
In
album.
Rainbows,
It's the
just-
only Radiohead album I can say it's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10 is straight up one of the best releases from the 2000s. And why? For many reasons. I think this is their most personal and well produced, well mixed, and their best in general. The lyrics are great, the songs are great, the experimentation and the styles of the song. You have a song like 15th Step, which has many layers of instrumentation upon it.
Yes.
Body
I love
Snatchers, which
15th
is a
Step.
great rocky moving sound to it. Nude, which is just straight up personal, nerve wracking. The
Weird Fishes.
Yeah, Weird Fishes is fucking good.
Oh my
very
god.
All I
strong.
Need.
I could seriously nut about this just for hours
Full
because
Star.
this is my favorite Radiohead album.
Reckoner is
It is
fucking
the only.
amazing. House of
Reckoner,
Cards.
rather.
Oh my god, Reckoner is amazing.
Videotape
Yeah.
is just one of
The-
Videotape to me.
Videotape is the best song on this whole album. You cannot change my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Video.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's their best.
Jigsaw
It is
Falling.
I'm learning how to play this
Jigsaw
song.
Falling
I'm learning how to play this
is-
song.
Every song that Radiohead has released ever is the best song that they have.
Nah,
on the
nah,
album.
Is that-
that.
that's really wrong. That's totally wrong. They have some bad songs.
And
Oh yeah, I showed my mother.
yeah, we're gonna
In
get to a
Rainbow
Moonshift
City.
pool for that, but
you like it too.
it's just this album
Um,
feels great to me.
I-
It's the only. I
Yeah.
have more of a personal attachment to it, but I think it's their best for many reasons. I mean, mainly for the history and the way they develop the songs, like Nude, Weird Fishes, Videotape, House of Cards.
Yeah,
House of Cards is
In Rainbows.
In Rainbows is fucking great to me. It's just
In Rainbows is a really solid album.
Can I speak to In Rainbows? I think that this is possibly my favorite Radiohead album. It's
mine.
beautiful. It didn't click with me for a while, actually, which is weird. But there's just something about it. The guitar parts are really beautiful. The sort of interlocking guitar parts that exist throughout the whole album. I mean, apart from Videotape, which is great in its own right. But it's just these really cool, drum patterns, bass patterns, guitar patterns. But then the electronic elements that it kind of exist just below the surface that kind of break through sometimes. Like you think about the end of Weird Fishes, where it just kind of crescendos into this.
That's
this
arpeggio.
beautiful synth. That's arpeggio. You're right. I'm a clown for that. But
I'm gonna leave soon. It's
Oh,
getting
okay.
late.
all right.
So yeah. I guess my last thoughts is that I love Radiohead, and King of Limbs is actually not that bad. I rank it higher than no, I can't rank them. I can't rank any of the albums. Yeah, I love
That's okay.
King.
That's okay. Yeah.
And Moonshaped Pool is also amazing.
It's amazing. Yes.
I mean, no, actually, the hype around Moonshaped Pool was the thing that brought me into the fandom, actually.
Oh,
Which makes
I didn't experience that.
saying it again makes me sound bad, makes me sound very cringy, but yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Other than that, in Rainbows, Forever. I sound like Fantano.
Yeah, the
Fantastic.
Fantano thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
yeah.
Can I say my thoughts
Okay,
on
give your
Rainbows?
thoughts on
Rainbows,
the
yeah.
album, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love some of the songs on by I love some of the songs in Rainbows. They're great. We're fishes, Jigsaw falling into place. But it didn't click with me for some reason. I don't know. It didn't click as much. I don't think it's a 10. I do think it's a 9 though. But I prefer Kid A.
Hey,
But
that happens.
I
to
understand.
Me with Kid A. I mean, I understand why people love it, but I wouldn't call it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I perfectly understand if you love Rainbow. It is a very solid album, but it didn't click with me. It just didn't.
Yeah, Phallus, what is
Well,
your take?
Okay. In Rainbows is I don't get how people say it's their best. Not because it's bad, but because it's just not as good as the others in a way. But okay, so let me say this: in Rainbows, the first disc, I guess, has extremely solid tracks. I don't think there's a weak track in the entirety of it. The closer is one of the best closers in the entirety of Radiohead. The opener is one of the best openers. Middle tracks are really good and really good and really good. I just think that it's a little bit overhyped sometimes, being completely frank. Like, not gonna lie, it's good. I have it as my number 5 for top
Oh.
Radiohead records ever, but it's still not as good as people say. It's not better than OK Computer, in my opinion. It's not like I'm conflicted because I don't think it's their best record, as many people say, or even as good as other people say, but I still think it's good. I don't know. I don't know why I feel about this specifically like this about in Rainbows and not about OK or anything or Kid A. Just specifically in Rainbows because most people that I know prefer In Rainbows as their favorite record, and I just don't get that.
It's
It's
much
got
more
really-
personal.
it's got a really cool
it's
mood
much
throughout
more
the whole
personal
album.
than anything to me. Honestly, at the end of the day, it turns out how much you can relate to an album. But
Yeah, I guess that's why I like the depressing album the best. Yeah.
So what do you have to say about it, Gabe?
Okay, so it's time for me to freak out. In Rainbows is
do
my
it, boy.
favorite Radiohead album of all time. It is I think it's in my top 15. I gotta check again. Either way, I freaking love In Rainbows. Every single song is fantastic. 15 Step, incredible opener, and one of the best songs Radiohead ever did. Videotape, one of the best. In fact, I think it's the best closer that Radiohead ever did. Also, my favorite song by Radiohead, and it's also incredibly just moving to me. I love it. When it's also the only it's the second Radiohead album I own on vinyl. The first one I bought though, I own the Bends as well.
Bend over.
I kind of perceive this album, and don't know how many people will really agree with me on this. I am a hot take legend after all. I sort of see this album as like a fusion of elements between both OK Computer and Kid A, and then mixing them into a pretty cohesive effort that, in my opinion, does surpass both
me
of those
too.
albums.
I think it's a mix of all their ideas into this.
I prefer it more.
This
I prefer it more
climax
than
of
Kid A,
everything.
but not more than.
Sorry?
I prefer this.
That-
I think it's like as you said, a mix of their ideas, getting into a more cohesive or more experimental, but at the same time more traditional record. And I like that.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Yeah.
And OK Computer, and I love this record, honestly.
I think of it like not experimental. It's not an experimental album. It's a straightforward rock album with experimental elements that does that really well and original. It's a really original
I can't listen to
experimental, but fundamentally
this.
rock
I can't
album,
listen to
art
this
rock specifically.
and think of this as just a rock album. The
Me
songs
neither,
have so many layers.
neither.
Just listen to 15 steps.
No,
Listening
I'm
to
telling you.
to 15 steps. Listen to how many layers of instrumentation it has. Listening to
Yeah,
video
but-
snatchers and just having like.
It's still, but I still wouldn't call it experimental per se, because at the end of the day, for me, it sounds like a rock album that is just done really well with experimental aspects, and that's not bad. Like some of my Hail to the Thief is just that too. It's a really well done rock album that just borrows something from other aspects, and that's just what I find. I don't really get people saying that In Rainbows is that experimental and mishmash, and I don't know what. But I respect it.
It's
I respect it. I
subtle.
respect
It's experimental, but it's more.
I'm gonna
subtle.
break out the BS arguments again, but I think
God.
In Rainbows shines experimentally because it's. Hold on, there's a great video I saw once. Let me.
No more time signature arguments, please.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna make.
No,
here.
you fucker.
I am genuinely gonna make that argument. That is
I knew
experimental,
it.
whether you want to argue that or not. They are experimenting with the art of music theory, and
You
while it's
natural
not
battle
immediately
of
obvious to the untrained listener, including myself, the more my eyes are kind of opening to the intricacies of songs like Videotape. In fact, I think that's like the song that was highlighted in the video I saw. It really puts into perspective what they're working with on this album, and like I said again, it's not going to be obvious to the ordinary listener. but it's part of the reason. What?
Gabe, I fucking love videotape, but I'm not gonna bring up time signature.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying I'm making
he's
a
a
point.
Tool fan.
I'm making a
Yeah,
point
he's
as
a
to
Tool
how
fan as
experimental
well.
works its way into the album's definition.
Like, the man bought Fear Inoculum, he has to do it.
I'm just saying. Listen, I know that people like to clown on me for doing that, but it's a genuine component of the music. It is experimental. It is not
it is
conventional.
All right.
I mean,
So, if we want to talk experimental, fellas, then in that case, I think we need to move. Oh, I forgot. Sorry,
We have to do
I'm
Rainbows
stupid.
Disc
I was
too.
gonna say King of Limbs,
Gary,
but
what's your-
we are missing
what's
this
your
too.
take on In Rainbows? Like, less.
I think it's Radiohead's best album.
Fair enough.
Hashtag in
To
Rain
me,
Bros.
it's their best album. And
That sounds like a
going
gay
more
couple thing.
technical,
Just
I
saying.
usually don't
Shut
go
up.
technical in this podcast, but going more technical, yeah, the time signatures on this should beat the shit out of all the structure of their previous songs.
Okay, yeah,
To
that's
me.
obvious.
Yeah. After this, like, just listening to the beats and the time signatures on 15 Step, to me it's just fantastic how that song works as it is structured. And well, after this, they will release In Rainbows Disc 2, which is something I adore too. And
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I
I,
find
I
it-
have to say, I find it really underwhelming, but I still liked it.
I like
think
MAK.
I understand why they didn't put all of those songs in the
yeah, me too,
original
but
Rainbows.
I think Bangers and Man should have.
But it's
gone
still
on
good.
the-
bangers
Yeah.
and mash.
Bangers and Mash is a banger.
Okay, so
funny.
in Rainbows Disc 2, I personally think it's most of their songs is underwhelming. Like Down is the New Up and Go Slowly, Up the Ladder, But the ones that are just really, really cool are MK1 is gorgeous, Last Flowers is beautiful, Bangers and Mash is oof. It's a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 4-minute warning, it's
Oh my
Gary,
God.
really
Gary
good
just
too.
said
Great.
more like 15 Step on my balls with high heels. Bangers and Mash is great, yeah. And 4-minute warning with Last Flowers. I think the MK transitions would have gone great in the album. But yeah, I mean, I understand why they cut off the tracks. But yeah, I mean, it's a little side note.
Yeah, there's not much to say
Yeah,
about
there's
this
not
too.
much- There's not much to say. I just think it's a good EP. It's an 8 out of 10 to me. But yeah, yeah. As you say, and then they would release Live from the Basement, the In Rainbows cut.
Which is fucking amazing.
It's
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 brilliant.
it's the best of both worlds. Both worlds being Disc 1 and Disc 2.
Yeah.
The version of All I Need from Live in the Basement is
Oh my God.
honestly 100
Oh.
times better than the original.
Bangers,
my
Bangers and Mash in this is just fucking great.
Yeah, 100%. I think that in From the Basement is one of the best things to ever happen to like Radiohead in the modern years. It's just it grabs good things and perfects them. And this is more reflected on the King of Limbs version, but in Rainbow's Live from the Basement, quality shit. Plus, it's good for playing with music bots on Discord that grab from YouTube. So
Yeah. What do you
you
think
gotta
about
take
it,
that into
Gary?
account.
In Rainbows from the Basement it's a really cool, especially the video. It's just a really cool way of seeing them performing and all the different elements that go into it and the instrumentation. It really highlights the guitar playing and the drumming on the album, which I think are among its best elements. So yeah, I think it's an essential watch for Radiohead fans, not just a listen, a watch.
What
Yeah.
about you, Gabe?
So this is one of the other pieces of Radiohead media that my best friend turned me on to, and oh God, it's just so brilliant. I think both literally and figuratively. In Rainbow's Live in the Basement is Radiohead's Live at Pompeii.
I mean, it is similar in the sense that it's live
Yeah,
studio
but-
backdrop.
But I
So
wouldn't go
you
It
got
that
a
is
point.
far. I wouldn't go that far.
I'm just saying it is a great live statement of theirs. I haven't listened to any other Radiohead live stuff before. Besides, yeah, I think this is really the only one, just Live at the Basement. So, the versions of the three that come to mind particularly that always or four. Let me count. I think it's three. That come to mind whenever I think of this performance are the performances of 15 Step, Weird Fishes, and Reckoner.
Yeah.
All three of those performances are
Reckoner
either
on here
on
is
par
really
with
fun.
the album or slightly better, in my opinion. This is, like Gary said, an essential watch for Radiohead fans. I totally agree with that statement.
Yeah.
The
And
version of Reckoner that really highlights the drums. It is such a cool
yes,
drum pattern. It almost feels krautrock inspired, if I may.
Yeah.
I could see
I
that a
can
little
see
bit.
that.
Yeah.
I think I can see that too. Yeah.
After this being an essential Radiohead fan watch, I love this. I wouldn't go as it has my favorite Mixomatosis performance, and they would release their controversial album. To me, their worst album. The only album I can say it's just mediocre as fucking give it a 5 out of 10. The King of Limbs.
Mm, the King
The
of
King of Limbs
Limbs.
gives me nothing to talk about. Bloom is all the songs would be improved later.
Yeah.
Lotus the best song here to me is either Feral or Lotus Flower. I don't know.
Lotus
I don't
Flowers.
remember all these songs. Like the versions
I
of these songs.
okay.
I just today I
The
learned
the first
that this
the
album
first
is not
time
for
I
me.
heard King of Limbs, I was pretty underwhelmed. But I thought it was good. I didn't understand really the much the hate. I think it was great, and I don't know if I would put it in my worst Radiohead album, but it would be mostly there because it's I don't know. It's a 7 for me, which is the least I've given a Radiohead album, and I don't know. I think it's great. I don't really remember.
All right. So
It's experimental. It's weird, but
Okay,
I
Phallus
like
Phallus
it.
comes with the salt. Let him talk.
okay, it's
Let's
not that
go.
much of a hot take. It's not as hot as some other people's
Let's
takes or
see.
some of my past takes, but I really do think that it's at the end of the day, it's kind of hated on just because it's weird and different. I find it to be
Nah, I
good.
mean,
It's
boy, I live for weird and different. This is not good weird and different. This is just
I like it. I think it's a solid release. It's glitchy. It's cool. I think it's kind of reminiscent of Thom's solo work in a way. Like when I listen to it, I get some
I mean, most
vibes
of
from
these
it. I guess.
songs, like from this album, are performed more in his solo performances than with Radiohead, as a whole.
Yeah, and dude, I just think that it's really as
I
an
mean, this to
album,
me feels
it's
more like a Thom Yorke project than a Radiohead project. The same
Yeah,
as
that's fair.
yeah.
I can
but
agree with that. Yeah.
fuck I just really think that the King of Limbs is a solid record. It's far from their best. I agree with that. I'm not delusional.
Yeah,
And I think that at the end of the day, it's what their I think it's their third lowest in my rankings.
yeah, something like
And
that.
I think you're gonna hate me for this. I think it's better than Amnesiac.
Okay.
I think it's better than
I
I
Amnesiac.
think
don't get it.
for me, the King of Limbs and Amnesiac are equal. Yeah, for me.
After the well,
So,
to
yeah.
me this would be better. Gary, do you have anything to say about this?
I have not heard the King of Limbs.
Have you really
after
not
the
heard of the
King of
King of
Limbs, which to me is just it's just something that I can forget about for my entire life. If I don't even care about this album. To be honest, I care about
I think it's pretty okay.
the live performance, the live from the basement, the King of Limbs, which improves upon every fucking song from this
Yes,
album.
yes.
I adore the
While
versions of
the King of Limbs studio version was a week four, I would say. The live version is a strong 4.5. And you know why that
Oh yeah, I
is?
forgot you used
You
that
know why?
scale.
Yeah, I use out of 5. I use out of 5. So
Stupid.
I'm stupid. I know I'm
Inspired by
tarded,
you.
but
Yes.
let me just say this, which is the addition of the Daily Mail in Staircase is the best decision that Radiohead has done in their entire fucking career. Like, just it was so much better with the Daily Mail and Staircase. It's wow. It's just so much. And I think they have more soul. Like the songs have more soul in them. So yeah, it's better.
Yeah, the songs have more soul, and that's true. I mean, to me, it's just a much more cohesive album than anything else. And I just adored the live performance in here. I adored them with all my heart. Bloom is fucking amazing here. Feral is great in here. The songs they add, like the Daily Mail and Little by Little, are fucking great. Yeah. I just love this fucking album. To me, it's closer than a 10 than anything else. And I prefer it more than the other live from the basement. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just great to me. After this, they will take a break. I mean, to me, this era of 2011 to 2015, the live performances are their best live performances to me. And the early versions of a Moonshaped Pool, I prefer more than the last versions from a Moon, especially Identikit. Identikit live version 2012 to me is the best version of Identikit. And
Oh wait, we're going into a moonshaped pool. What the fuck?
yeah, a
There
Moonshaped Pool,
there was a transition.
a
Okay,
Moonshaped Pool,
Okay.
it's not
so
bad.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. A Moonshee Pool is my favorite Radiohead, and it's
ditto.
fucking amazing.
Wasn't it
I
Hide?
agree.
I think it's pretty amazing too, actually.
A
I
moonshaped.
appreciate.
I once. Okay, so I once stated while being retarded that it just came to me that a moon-shaped pool is a mood. It's not an album, it's a mood, a convoluted, complex mood, and it's one that I feel
Have you
often.
become a Tumblr blogger?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And I think that a moon-shaped pool is, at the end of the day, a masterpiece. I can go deep into every single track and say why it's just beautiful. From Burn the Witch, which is a really cool, anxious
Opener, yeah,
opener.
it's a great
It's
opener.
That is an
wow.
amazing song.
To
That
the
is a
next
great
song,
song. I
just
agree.
take this into account. For those of you that don't know, a moonshaped pool is heavily influenced by the fact that fucking Thom Yorke got Pinkertoned. So that is a very important factor. For example, in Daydreaming
He got
is
better than Radiohead.
sorry. Yeah, he got better than OK Computer. But
Yeah.
Daydreaming is a beautiful, beautiful track with incredible vocal performance from
I
Thom.
love that track. It's
Dex Dark is easily in my top 3 Radiohead songs of all time. Desert Island Disc is just a cool, mellow,
yeah,
calm
a
track,
mood.
which is the
It's
calm
literally a
before the
mood.
storm. It's the calm before the storm because the next track is Full Stop, which is
Full
easily the
Stop's
most
amazing.
Full
it's the
Stop is
most
amazing.
anxious track that Radiohead has ever made. It has some really weird influences. It's experimental. It's cool as fuck. And just the lyrics and the way he says them, they just hit you. You really messed up everything. You really messed up. And then the repetition, it drills into your head and it's just incredible. It's so good. It's so ridiculously good as a song. And then you go into Glass Eyes and Identikit, which for me, it's just a single song. Those two songs just meld into one beautiful, gorgeous track with incredible instrumentation in Identikit. And then The Numbers, which is Daydreaming's twin sister in my head. Just a beautiful, heartfelt track. Moves on to the funky present tense with the weird repetitive vocals, which borrows influences from the Thom's solo work in A King of Limbs. Repetitive, and then what is also easily one of the most amazing and underrated songs in the album, Tinker Tailor, Soldier Sailor, Rich Man, Poor Man, Beggar Man, Thief.
That song is great.
The reason why I like it so much is the white noise in it, like the you know what like the weird fuzzy noises. I think that's easily the best part. I love the feeling of listening to that. And then comes the best closer in Radiohead history, True Love Waits, which is also the saddest song in Radiohead history.
That
And
is totally
that concludes
unbelievable.
52 minutes of orgasmic music, 11 songs of beauty, a 5 out of 5 album, and one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yes,
That's everything I'll say.
I agree with Phallus.
I don't think it's as amazing as you guys do, but I definitely.
It's
No,
just,
no, no.
I think it's good,
okay,
but it's like
I'll say
Okay,
this.
okay,
I don't
it's
think
time
it's-
for
I think it's good.
contrast.
I think it's okay.
good.
All right,
but
One at a time.
I think it's
I
good.
think it's among Radiohead's best. I think it's a really cool mood overall. Like True Love Waits is beautiful, but just I mean I made fun of you for saying it's a mood, Phallus, but I think you're right. It's just the instrumentation is really ambient. There's a lot of use of piano, which is really cool.
Yes, the piano on it is great.
Just the vibe on this, just vibe check this record. Dude.
Vibe check.
It's so cool. It's such a cool mood throughout the whole thing.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as calling it a 5 out of 5. I understand why people do it because it's, as you call it, more personal than anything. Because Thom Yorke is getting older, he's gonna die soon. And he's making more soundtracks.
No,
I'll
cry.
He's making more soundtracks for
That was so
for
sad.
weird movies than anything. So this album, is great. It's good, but I wouldn't go that far. It has some flaws on it to me, but especially
Like
I
what?
have problems with the identikit version on this album.
With what?
The identity
What which one?
the identikit version of this album.
Ident.
I prefer I prefer all the this is the second case where I prefer more the live versions from most of the songs than the studio versions. And I don't like the way that Broken Hearts Make It Rain is just sang on this track.
Broken hearts,
I
make it
love
rain.
that.
Broken
Honestly.
hearts, make it
Tinker
rain. Broken
Tailor, my
hearts,
favorite songs from
make it
here might be True Love
rain.
Waits
Broken
or
hearts.
Burn the Witch or Tinker Tailor. But yeah, I agree
That's
that
fair.
this is fair. Of True Love Waits is a contender for best closer on Radiohead. To me, it's videotape, but okay.
For me, it will be motion picture soundtrack, but
But okay,
that's a
so
close
this
second.
is
Wait, Gabe, your thoughts on Moonshade Pool?
Okay, so I'm kind of in the crowd that I think it's great, but I think it's a little overrated in some respects.
yeah.
But I will say this much: A Moonshaped Pool was given a bit of a second perspective for me when I heard a lot of the songs on that album live. When I went and saw Radiohead live last year, I don't think it was last year. They played a lot of songs from this album, full stop. They opened with Daydreaming, which was beautiful. It really helped put this album into perspective for me a little bit better. I always thought that Burn the Witch was a great song, but besides that, I kind of, teetered off with this album a little bit. It wasn't, it was floating around the back of my head, not very centric. When I thought of Radiohead, it would not be, Moonshade Pool, and it's still that way. But I can definitely appreciate what this album stands for and all of the tracks on it. I don't think it's all amazing, but I will say this has got some very high points.
Yeah.
Also, the album art is really cool.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite album art of all. Honestly,
Oh yeah,
I
it's
really
just
love
gorgeous.
it. It's so beautiful,
And
like the very minimalistic part of like the Radiohead on
oh yeah,
the
my
corner.
favorite Radiohead art is Held to the Thief, honestly. But yeah,
That's fair.
I think the Kid A cover is really cool too.
that concludes.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah,
is
mine's
really
Kid A.
cool,
I
too.
love the collage on fucking OK Computer. But yeah, after that concludes the main studio releases. After this, they wouldn't release anything else besides the leak of the mini discs of the OK Computer session, which are great. Yeah, but I don't think anyone has. I think I'm the
I
only
have
one
not
that
done
has
all of
listened to
them,
the
no.
18 hours.
Jesus!
Wait, and
What? What is that again? I missed it. My brain went.
He did all 18 hours of the mini discs.
Yeah, I
Who?
think I'm the only one that listened to the entire 18 hours.
You
Cringed it. Well, he listened to all of the Merge Box too, so I mean,
madman. How the fuck do you do all of that? Like, I couldn't even get past disc one.
You know, I just listen to it. I just listen to music all the time while I'm doing many things. If I wanna focus, listen, I just sit down and listen to it while I'm relaxed. But this album just is. I mean, the mini discs are great. I especially love the performances from. They have a lot of sampling here. Like the True Love Waits version here is just great. And
And various light years superior to I might be wrong version.
yeah. They have a version that is proggy of True Love Waits that is actually called True Love Waits quote unquote prog. It's just fucking great. And
That's
I
interesting.
adore this. I mean it just they have some filler on it and of course it's a fucking hacked version. But I just adore this. I think I'm the only one that that could talk like through this 18 I think it was 17, but more like 18 hours of music. But yeah, after this they would finish the discography. And yeah, we have ended the Radiohead podcast. And to finish, what are your top 5 Radiohead releases? Dead?
Have we ended
Okay.
it now?
with
How
top
long was
five.
that?
Top 5.
Okay, let me. I'll do it. Okay, at the top, a Moonshade Pool. Then the second top two is Kid A. Then top three, I think it would probably be in Rainbows. Then yeah, and then I don't know, top four maybe the bands. No, OK Computer, and 5 the bands. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
you,
my top
Gary.
5.
I think In Rainbows, OK Computer, Kid A, Moon-Shaped Pool if Pablo's Come, and I don't know what I'd put fifth actually. Maybe the Bends actually. Yeah.
You, Gabe.
Okay, so my top 5 from top to bottom is In Rainbows, Kid A, The Bends, OK Computer, and hold on, I remember I had my 5th for the longest time. I can't remember what it is now. I think I might actually have said a Moonshaped Pool.
You,
Hey.
Phallus.
Mine, I have them very well memorized, which are first, A Moon-Shaped Pool, second, Hail to the Thief, third, The Bends, 4, OK Computer, 5 is In Rainbows.
Okay, mine are In Rainbows. Then there is OK Computer. Then is Amnesiac. Then is The Bands. And then is How to the Thief. Yeah. Those are my top 5. So that concludes the Radiohead podcast. Many people have died. Like, I think
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost.
Yeah,
we've
rest in
lost a
peace,
lot of
Pova
good
and
men
Udi.
and women.
Yeah, those two died physically, but I think a couple of you died mentally to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with my take.
Especially with them.
Weederhead ass.
Start
Pinkerton.
talking about
Which
Pinkerton.
I'm not apologizing for, by the way. Like,
Okay.
I'm never
So,
gonna
You
do
should,
that.
but
we
okay.
have ended this podcast. I thank you all for being part of it, and yeah, I guess
Mhm.
see you next time, guys. Next week we're gonna discuss
Yeah.
Fishmans, which I'm gonna talk
Yes,
about.
I
Fishman.
gotta
Yes,
get
we
on
will.
that.
I don't
I'm not
even
sure
know
if
that
I'll be
Fishman
able
is
to
a-
excited though.
come there for it, but I hope I can.
Thank you for being
All
part
right.
of it. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Great.
Have a
See you
nice one.
guys.